Mic check. 1, 2.
Black people, I love you, and I love you enough to tell you, you ain't ready to revolt shit. You don't feed yourself, you don't hunt your own animals and slaughter them, you don't prepare your own meat, you don't own your own land, you don't have a seed growing in your window. So when you think about revolutionaryism, and you think about fighting and dying in the street, you ain't shit.
Killer Mike said black people ain't ready to revolt. It's a disparaging marriage and he ready to elope. Maritime coastline, deep V hull boat. Crack a nose turned up, machete to your throat. The divine snatched the arm back, she fine, she in Zinga. Moroccan mercenary got a line on Moringa. Ask Chief X to swing it. Go fund me to rock a new car or build a school like I'm Dr. Umar. Nah, go fund some more guns, banana clips and cannabis, and bury it, the jackal, Anubis. On pool, keep them heaters, and I'm in tie in an abyss. He ain't rapping due to libations, he just channeling this.
Hands down, you ain't ready to oppose nothing. You are as a part of this system as any white person gentrified.
I'm on life. Hovercraft propellers over swamp water. We make the thoughtful think they should have thought harder. Be aware of this. Don't blink, there's only one blunt between the careful and careless. It's hard to face it when you need a shrink or a therapist. Mental disorder ordered them to label you a terrorist. I breathe elements and I found the secret. We could all walk on water if it's ground beneath it. I carry my weapon and keep my trees, and still be Hotep and ask to rig Nasheed. 6 in the morning I greet my seed, then do everything I think I need.
I have to say this because I know our spirit and our emotions get stirred. I'm not against nobody on the panel. I'm with everybody. I'm not I agree with everything my brother said about revolutionaryism. So let me ask you guys a few questions. We're in the South, we're in the heart of the South right now. Who fishes? Who knows how to fish? Hands down. Who knows how to hunt? Let's hands. Hands down. Hands down. Hands down. Hands down.
Black people, are you ready to revolt? Black people, are you ready to revolt?
How y'all doing out there? We gonna let some people roll in. I see you in the building. Set M Hotel Ray Black. What's up?
Black people, are you ready to revolt?
Just coming in, you might have missed your song. Let's knock that hard couth real quick and have a good show.
Moronic script in my car too. Roll through with them arches. Hard couth, that's in my shinu. I'm Bennu giving y'all truth. Iron core from meteorite should be chartreuse. Turbocharged the chariot and almost left Ferrari. The queen like almost Nefertari. Immortalize an image, put a figure in a figurine. Illiterate, who heard? Them leopard skin kilts, yeah, the clan wear 'em. And I turn your knee suit to a fan bearer. Have my servants build a new stadium where I'ma slaughter you, surround your tumor line with boot cranium. Remove the organs, we preserve the dead. Mummify them, then carve them a reserve head. And all your internet mans who lied with you, died with you, sacrificed their life. Afterlife with you. Now I'm all in your spot, and I'm calling the shots. While your soul get devoured in the hall of my heart. Ain't a night ballin' or not, care if you ballin' or not. I'm still gonna tell you guys, go to Kemet like El Shaddai. You ain't no king, You're like Cambyses the Persian who couldn't draw the Nubian bowstring. Melt the jewels in your crown into a gold ring. Refashion them after smashing the whole thing.
Y'all know I got some treats, right?
Too old, king. If you think it ain't black, then let me just
Every
check
show.
out know the syntax.
It's like battle rap, every bar.
The scholarship top line, dog, and the flow mean. And my debater make the fraud quit the internet. Sometimes I wonder if I saw to fix this window yet. That's what you call
See, I
repair.
prove everything I
They
be
heard
saying.
the
I
king
prove
of
it.
Jaw was a scary man, and he is though. I'm telling you, you better contain him, man. He's busting arrows at all these Mediterraneans, killing them. Now we ain't getting no views. Yeah, them flip-flops look like Tutankhamun shoes. And y'all just wiki, thinking I'm enthused. They turned Egyptian temples to churches and still say, I'm enthused. It's crazy. They just wiki, cause they lazy. So they can call me pseudo, it don't faze me. The page monetized, so crushing you clowns pays. You dig? Magi archers.
Should we not? Of the creation. It serves us.
So what's
it
up?
It serves our understanding of them. It serves.
Excuse me, how y'all doing? Let me get this presentation ready. Y'all know I got some treats for y'all. I got some bombs for y'all. We always got primary sources. Before we go there, we gonna do what we do. Saturday morning, Saturday school. We gonna let y'all hear from the experts. Right? So we're gonna hear from my man real quick before I get into this discourse. Now what you're gonna notice is ain't no scholars out here, ain't no scholars out here today contradicting what we teaching. Oh yeah, they don't be at the right events. They be watching dudes who barely can read English. Y'all get y'all information from dudes who learned how to read live on YouTube in front of all y'all. When they started out, they was like, and the Nubians, or what they say right there, and the Egyptians. Not only is they illiterate in their own language, but they know nothing about the language they arguing about. Nothing about it. So nothing about it that they're not even qualified to stand on the laurels that they built themselves on in this conscious community. If anybody in the conscious community you seen learn how to read better on YouTube, who is it? Embarrassingly, reading like a straight idiot. Like embarrassingly, like on some Mayweather shit. Talking about science. Let alone they go into an ancient language. Like it's like your children, when you're teaching your children how to read, imagine if your children was like, that don't say that. The first thing you would say is, you can't even read it. And so it's primary sources versus illiterate skeptics. And that's a fact. That's really what it is. Can anyone skeptical of what I present read the Medu Neter? If so, put their name up in the chat. So now, your path to success on YouTube as a follower, right? You follow somebody with some directions in their hand that they can't read. And you trying to get to a destination in the conscious community. Then they try to go to white scholars thinking that the white scholars of today don't stand by everything we teach. But they don't be in lectures like this. Matter of fact, this is a privilege to be able to see, right? And y'all want to thank Brother Reggie for this one, right? Because when we back chatting, we ain't just talking smack. We learn together. We teach together. How you gonna take directions from somebody that's illiterate? We know how bad they read in English, but when it comes down to the language that we discussing, keep it a buck though. They can't read it, so they can't tell you what it say. They don't even know what to look for. But that's my monologue. Let's get into this video.
It serves us. It serves our understanding of them. It serves how we live in this world. And given that perspective, I think that there are many different stories and communications that we would make. So thank you, and I will hand it off to Stuart. I think, or Miriam. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Please, Dr. Stuart Tyson-Smith.
Okay, so I do have a PowerPoint, so I will share my screen, starting with an image not from Egypt, but from Kyoto in Japan, one of my favorite places. But, I will start my PowerPoint. And I have timed it to 10 minutes, so there we go. This. The fact that Egypt is in Africa is a basic fact of geography, but when I lecture about ancient Egypt, there are always people who are surprised to find that the modern nation and ancient civilization are on the African continent. Egyptologists, of course, realize this fact, but nevertheless have been strangely reluctant to acknowledge ancient Egypt's African roots, often stating that Egypt was in, but not of, Africa. The modern landscape reinforces this idea, a thin strip of cultivation on either side of the Nile surrounded by absolute desert that provided a barrier to interactions within Africa, but this interpretation falls into the trap of assuming, of assuming that ancient Egyptian civilization and the environment around it was unchanging through the millennia. Instead, we know that the ecology of the Sahara during Egypt's formative period was very different. During the Green Sahara, a period between around 8000 and 3500 BCE, rainfall from the Indian Ocean created vast savannas and grasslands in what is today desert. Egyptian kingship and religion is strongly connected with the Northeast African cattle complex that thrived during this period, an idea advocated early on by Henry Frankfurt, who's largely been ignored, but I think was quite perceptive in his observations, and I'll talk about that more in just a second, and more recently by David Wengrow, based on some really innovative archaeological research in the Northern Sahara. The pastoral lifestyle that characterized the later part of this period survives in modern southern Nilotic groups like the Dinka, reflected in ritual practices like the cattle dance. A similar pose can be seen in this early Egyptian figurine and a rock art panel that we found in our expedition to Sudanese Nubia. As early as 1948, renowned Egyptologist Henry Frankfurt argued that rather than looking to Near Eastern institutions and cultures to understand ancient Egypt, one should look to other African cultures that potentially share common roots in a regional cultural complex that included cattle pastoralism, seen dramatically in the symbolism surrounding kingship on the Narmer palette that continued throughout Egyptian history. And this kind of speaks to Kara's point about gatekeeping. A similar argument for Egypt being in, but not of, Africa is the idea of its limited influence in trade in other parts of Africa compared to the Near East and Circum-Mediterranean. In fact, when you map out the relationships, as I've done here, Egypt's interactions within the continent were both more extensive and profound than those with Western Asia. We know mainly from texts rather than objects.
Man, so y'all hearing this, right? This is what they teach today. Everything that they teaching y'all, bro, if y'all following that, I feel sorry for anybody who halfway is listening to them for anything but entertainment. Do you hear this? Do I have to rewind? Like, they wasn't messing. They like, man, their interactions in Africa is way more extensive. They ain't tripping off the Mediterranean. Let's go back to the Dinka brother that he got up here doing the cattle dance, showing you how that's reflected in pre-dynastic Egypt.
And roots in a regional cultural complex that included cattle pastoralism, seen dramatically in the symbolism surrounding kingship on the Narmer palette that continued throughout Egyptian history. And this kind of speaks to Kara's point about gatekeeping. A similar argument for Egypt being in, but not of, Africa is the idea of its limited influence in trade in other parts of Africa compared to the Near East and circum-Mediterranean. In fact, when you map out the relationships, as I've done here, Egypt's interactions within the continent were both more extensive and profound than those with Western Asia. We know mainly from texts rather than objects that the Egyptian state had diplomatic relations and traded with far-off Babylon, but the same can be said of Punt, likely located either in modern Eritrea or Somalia. Archaeological evidence and inscriptions carved by expedition leaders indicate that Egyptian trading caravans reached a surprising distance from the Nile Valley, taking advantage of oases and prepared routes with way stations and supplies to reach into southern Libya, northern Chad, and perhaps Darfur and western Sudan from the late Old Kingdom through at least the New Kingdom, long after modern hyper-arid conditions had been reached in the Sahara Desert. Archaeological and historical evidence demonstrate that Egypt was deeply embedded into a Northeast African setting, sharing a profound relationships with other African cultures, especially Nubia. In a similar vein, the Kushite kings of ancient Egypt's 25th dynasty, who ruled from around 750 to 650 BCE, are commonly referred to as the Black Pharaohs in both scholarly and popular publications. This terminology is often presented as a celebration of Black African civilization, but it both defines Egypt in Egyptian terms as merely imitative with only a brief period of importance. These ideas reflect a too literal approach to texts and representations designed to legitimize royal power that are often divorced from lived realities. And this is a point that Kara also made about the nature of Egyptian texts and representations and how you just can't take them at face value.
I know a lot of people, a lot of the illiterate skeptics didn't understand what he just said right there. I know my audience is well tuned in to what he said. Do we have to reword that? They misuse this term Black Pharaohs in the 25th dynasty to make y'all think that the other Egyptians wasn't African. And they use texts that reflect the political view of Egypt to make y'all think that Egypt had a problem with Black people. That was a paraphrase. Now let's hear it again.
These ideas reflect a too literal approach to texts and representations designed to legitimize royal power that are often divorced from lived realities. And this is a point that Kara also made about the nature of Egyptian texts and representations and how you just can't take them at face value. This trope also contributes to the notion of Egypt as not African, inappropriately attributing modern racial thinking to ancient Egyptians, at the same time creating an artificial black-white Saharan-Sub-Saharan divide between the two regions.
So, he don't like the term Black Pharaohs because it's fake. It's making y'all think something else popped off but blackness. You feel me? They don't say the Mediterranean pharaohs. Well, they do say the Greek pharaohs and what have you, so let's give them credit. But let's let the good teacher continue.
The simplistic use of Egyptian ideological representations of Nubians also plays into the stereotype of Black Nubian slaves or prisoners, to some extent civilized and always subordinated by Egyptians, but not contributing to Egyptian civilization in spite of thousands of years of interaction. Egyptian art in general, and especially ideological tropes like this one, cannot be taken at face value. another common trap that both scholars and people interested in ancient Egypt fall into, as I just mentioned. Race is a cultural
Exactly,
construct,
Tony.
not a biological reality or inevitability. Colorism didn't exist in ancient Egypt. It's seen in the use of black coloring for Ahmose and Nefertari here. And it's important to recognize that Egyptian conventions were just as negative towards people from Western Asia and North Africa. All foreigners were wretched forces of chaos or Isfet, no matter their regional origins or the lightness or the darkness of their skin.
Damn. So why do he beat the brakes off cats? I ain't even got to say nothing this whole video. I'm just putting my part y'all don't like in it. My commentary. Even though you could have just watched this video. Well, you really couldn't have just watched this video yourself. This is presented by the Archers. You understand, mate?
Value. Another common trap that both scholars and people interested in ancient Egypt fall into, as I just mentioned. Race is a cultural construct, not a biological reality or inevitability. Colorism didn't exist in ancient Egypt. It's seen in the use of black coloring for Ahmose and Nefertari here. And it's important to recognize that Egyptian conventions were just as negative towards people from Western Asia and North Africa. All foreigners were wretched forces of chaos or Isfet, no matter their regional origins or the lightness or the darkness of their skin.
So they didn't like people from North Africa or the Mediterranean just as much as they said about people from the South. Like, but they take the claims about people from the South and say, oh, look, they didn't like Nubians. Do y'all hear what they teach in school today? Where do he teach at? Santa Barbara? These the Cali professors. Come on, why don't y'all get in y'all section and represent?
In contrast to ideological representations of subordination, historical, artistic, and archaeological evidence shows that Nubians were an integral part of Egyptian civilization from the beginning. Trade expeditions were managed by Nubians during the Old Kingdom, and high officials like Maherpri, who you see here, is depicted with a similar physiognomy, and they could be close confidants of the king, in this case as a high-level military advisor, given the rare privilege of a lavish burial in the Valley of the Kings. Ancient Egypt was a diverse, not a homogeneous society, correcting another common misconception drawn from a too literal reading of ideological sources. Even scientific studies are subject to these kind of biases, and this plays off of a number of the concerns raised.
There go that genome study, in case y'all don't know. Y'all thought it was just us on YouTube picking this little whack survey apart? Where they was talking about, oh, the ancient Egyptians got 17% more sub-Saharan African DNA after the slave trade. But I can show you like 4 to 5 different scholars saying that don't use that study, which skeptics use all the time.
As a high-level military advisor, given the rare privilege
Watch
of a
this.
lavish
Listen
burial
closely.
in the Valley of the Kings. Ancient Egypt was a diverse, not a homogeneous society, correcting another common misconception drawn from a too literal reading of ideological sources.
Yeah, it was diverse, not a monolith. Whoever said it was a monolith? Golly, American Dream, don't waste your thumb energy.
Even scientific studies are subject to these kind of biases, and this plays off of a number of the concerns raised by Julia. A recent DNA publication in Nature Communications that received a great deal of press and is continuing to receive, in my opinion, way too much attention, quote-unquote, proved that ancient Egyptians were really from the Middle East and not African at all. They go on to posit that the significant genetic ties between modern Egyptians and other Africans revealed through DNA testing, like National Geographic Society's Genome Project, came with the medieval Arab slave trade and doesn't extend back into antiquity. This study was, however, fundamentally flawed, something that came out in peer review, and that's another thing I could add to Julia's considerations. For many of these journals, you can actually read the peer review, and in this case, it is quite illuminating. And there are several points that came out in the peer review that were ignored by the editor and by the authors as well, or just appropriately addressed. So the authors first overgeneralized the entire population of Egypt, going back deep into history, From a small sample of only 90 individuals from one site, only 3 with a full genome. The burials date to the latest periods of Egyptian history, a period of time after Egyptians had settled a group called the Sherden in exactly this area, so they ignore the historical context, and they likely came from Turkey, easily explaining any Middle Eastern affinities in the DNA results. There were no samples to compare from southern Egypt or Nubia, a fundamental flaw in any kind of overgeneralization like they're trying to make. And even worse, again, one of Julia's points, they were completely oblivious to the long history of racism centered around the idea of ancient Egyptians and other North Africans as having migrated from Western Asia, a central argument in the long discredited Hamitic hypothesis, a product of the 19th century construction of racial hierarchies, notably in 1854's Types of Mankind, a collaboration between early Egyptologist George Glidden and slaver Josiah Nott. And yet these ideas are still with us today. If Egypt had a long relationship with the Levant, they had an even longer and more profound relationship to Nubia.
Black Egypt means it was homogenous and a monolith. Who said that? You ain't making no sense. Black Egypt would translate back to the Kemet. How about that? Kemet, right? That which is black.
Including not only the trade in luxuries, but a deeply entangled history of commonalities from their Northeast African origins, robust interactions, and mutual influence stretching over millennia. However, Egyptological narratives emphasized a portrayal of Nubia as a dominated periphery, depending on Egypt for any degree of sophistication or civilization. In this view, Kush inevitably declined in periods of time when that influence waned. In the words of one Egyptologist, and this from just a couple of decades ago, relegated to a, and I quote, bastardized and degenerate copy of Egyptian forms on the Temple of Naga that you see here during the later Meroitic phase of the Kushite rule in Nubia. Yet for Nubiologists like myself, this is the point when Kushite-Nubian civilization becomes really interesting. The Kushites incorporated and adapted elements from both cultures and the Mediterranean world, create a vibrant new civilization that lasted 1,000 years after Tutankamani, the last Nubian pharaoh, departed from Egypt in the mid-7th century BCE. One of the things that sets Kushite civilization apart is the role of powerful women leaders like Amanatori, depicted here as a fierce ruler and King Nutakamani's equal on the temple pylon built around 10 CE. And here I'd just like to give a quick shout out to Miriam, who's written some wonderful things about the divine adoratresses, especially the Kushite women who filled that position during the Nubian dynasty. This is clearly a negative for many Egyptologists, but something that we can celebrate today. These are the Kandakes, powerful queens who confronted the Roman Empire and inspired the revolution in Sudan. This legacy still inspires civil society groups in a nation which is sadly in the throes of a brutal civil war today. It all culminates in a scene balancing Amanatori and Nutakamani between an innovative image of a petamak with multiple heads and arms that allow him to simultaneously acknowledge the king and queen as equals. He also faces towards the viewer, since the backs of temples were places of worship for the masses. The imagery of a petamak emerging from an acanthus that you see on the left represents another Kushite innovation interweaving classical, Egyptian, and Kushite elements to form a new iconography and theology. So we can see both Egypt and Nubia as distinctive African civilizations with a long history of interaction and entanglement, sometimes hostile but often cooperative, but both embedded in a Northeast African ecological and social context. And before I finish, just a quick addendum. I'd just like to acknowledge the current plight of the friends and colleagues with whom I have worked for over 2 decades in Sudan, especially the people of Tombos, some of whom you see here. It's important that we keep our eyes on Sudan and Nubia as civil war rages in these troubled times. The American Sudanese Archaeological Research Center is taking action to protect Sudan's rich cultural heritage and support our archaeological colleagues. For more, you can go to amsarc.org. Thank you.
Look, they painting their feet and their hands. Uh-oh. That was just a little taste. There's more where that came from. But we're going to get up out of here. Right? Y'all don't need to even know this. Y'all ain't in the back chat. We'll watch it in the back chat. Oh, hop in that Discord, all them other archers. Hit me up. It's good. Now where we going? I want to go to, oh, let's go here. And have a little fun. Hold on now. Great. So, again, thank you for availing me with your time. I don't know if you had a chance to look over something else. First, on what we was banging on yesterday, I just happened to have Kemet open from somewhere. It was just a coincidence. Let me look into my files. I don't know why. Yeah, there it go. It was open from right here. So we're going to have some more fun with this. And I'm going to open up the link. Yeah. Email me at casual@hieroglyphics.com. More is all good. I'm trying to make this image bigger. Every time I do it closes out. Y'all see that? Let me see what's going on with this. Why I want to do that? I thought I was supposed to press. It ain't gonna get. Yeah, it's closing out. What's up with that? I don't know what's up with that. So I ain't gonna make it no bigger. Or I'm just gonna open. No, I ain't gonna open JSS. I ain't gonna make it no bigger. But we're gonna go back over this and then we'll hopefully, if my screen allows me to, we're going to look over some things.
You quite correctly point out that the word for black in Medu Necher, should we call it, is Kem, or what comes out in Coptic as Kema or Kem, something like that. The way that the Egyptians made.
I want y'all to note something. He said, or what comes out in Coptic as Kema or something like that, right? Kimmy, Kama, Cam, you know. But just, these are the details of the conversation.
You quite correctly point out that the word for black in Medu Necher, should we call it, is Kem, or what comes out in Coptic as Kema or Kem, something like that. The way that the Egyptians made abstracts was with a feminine. So if they wanted to say like the black person, what they would have probably written, again, theoretically, because I can't really tell you any examples that I have of them calling anyone, whether it's themselves, a foreigner, a Nubian, a black person. I don't think that I have any examples of this. But what they would have done, so they would have used the phonetic signs Kem, and then they would have had a classifier of a seated man. And again, there's ways of even distinguishing between foreign or Egyptian and foreign in the way that seated figure would have looked. So for example, if they show an Egyptian man or someone like kind of culturally coded to be Egyptian, then you can tell that they're understanding this person is Egyptian. If they show them, perhaps with a feather on their head or, with kind of some other kind of foreign significance or signifier, then this might be showing that they're, being distinguished from the normal Egyptian population. But again, we don't have any of this, as far as I'm concerned. We don't, or as far as I know, we don't have any kind of people that are called the black people, to my knowledge. What instead we have is this kind of abstract feminine form, Kemet, which means not the black one, but that which is black. So this is kind of the way that you make feminines in Egyptian and also in some Semitic languages as well. So then what then happens when you have Kemet and then you add the nisba ending E or EU for the plural, what you have is saying the one who is associated with that which is black rather than the black one. So I think that's what Saunaron's point is in that kind of contribution or in that passage that you've brought to our attention.
Interesting about the Kemet EU, specifically, some argue that when that type of nisba is formed, it's typically toponymic and not related to the root. Like it dismarries the meaning of the root or divorces the meaning of the root and just Sirli means inhabitants of, and some translate that as you see, they say inhabitants of Egypt. But if ancient Egyptians could not have meant inhabitants of Egypt, because that seems to espouse some type of anachronism to where they would not have even known that term yet. And so you don't detach it from the root, but still there's the question of whether that blackness is a reality that has to do with people or the Nile silks, which we know to be so prevalent. And there are also a bunch of other black realities, how much the Apis and the Kemet, the divine cattle herd, and all of these things that we could throw in there to see which one they were actually talking about. And so I started to share my screen, but I think I chose the wrong thing. So if I could share some things.
Yeah, please go on ahead. While you're navigating the complex Zoom window, I will also say that another thing to consider is that, like me personally, I am not sure when ancient texts use the word Kema or Kemet. I am not sure what they're actually talking about. It's very easy to say, oh yeah, they're talking about Egypt, but I'm not sure they're talking about all of Egypt. Like, for example, like, so basically what this is to say is that a lot of times when we say Egypt, we think, oh, the ancient understanding of Egypt must be equivalent with the modern understanding of Egypt. And we know that that's simply not the case. And we even know it's not the case from Greek sources. So when, for example, Alexandria, the city, was founded, they didn't call it Alexandria in Egypt. So Alexandria was not understood to be in Egypt itself. It was called Alexandria para Aegyptu, Alexandria near Egypt, nearby Egypt, in the surroundings of Egypt. So,
all right, like James said, everything he said was right on the screen. But what he said is he had not seen an attestation for that himself, and he would probably argue that this is a Kemet to you. And so that would just become a different argument, right? That would just become a different dialogue. But I'm gonna get to some of that, some new content from it. But instead of doing that, I'm gonna open up the chat. I mean, instead of spending all day on that, I intend to open up the chat and look over some of these attestations that we have that our good brother has not seen, because that's not what he spends his time doing every day, looking for Kemet attestations. Right? I wake up at so early in the morning and spend a few more hours looking for some more. Let's see. See if I can get this right. I think most of the people who will follow this video, if I get to release it, they will possibly know what we're talking about too. We have a small audience of somewhat novice grammarians who really love your field of work. And so your opinion is going to be, trust me, people are going to say, the Egyptologist said, that's what I'm going to hear a whole lot of, you know what I mean? And so...
So it's interesting because especially as someone, so I work with, like, the main focus of my research lately has been religious texts of the New Kingdom that are written in a ornamentally, sometimes called cryptographic or enigmatic script. So this is the questions that you're asking about, like, why did they not choose to write it this way, or why did they choose to write it that way? I'm asking a lot of these same questions, and a lot of times it almost looks like they are celebrating the diversity of the available writings that they have. So basically, in order to kind of show off their chops, like it's very common to even see things that are not written consistently within the same text. And that doesn't mean that there's an error, or that they're like, sometimes it can be anything. It could be a conscious choice to kind of show off their scribal chops, to say, like, look, here I know how to spell it one way, but here's another way. Like, look how knowledgeable of a scribe I am. Sometimes it could do with space concerns, or sometimes there's just no way to answer why they're choosing to do it one way and not another.
Thank you for that answer. So I just got these up here for the fun of it because some confusion about the 049 time determinative. It doesn't appear to be confusing to me when I do look over various texts of how it's used. And I'm trying my hardest to find another term where they strictly and specifically attach 049 to the root and say that it means land. So in my inquiry, I should have been more specific. I mean, I did. I said strictly and specifically attach the 049 to the root and say that it means land. But notice in his answer, he's going to give us a word that says ta in it. So I'll take fault for that. I tried to explain to him, but I didn't want too much contention. I'm not saying a word with ta in it because ta means land, right? And so I should have said a word that doesn't have ta in it that means land. So I kind of wasted this inquiry, but we still get some valuable information from it. In most instances, it means a town or city situation or something like that. But when we translate Kemet, it supposedly translates back to the black land. Now, in Jesheret, we have this Kushite determinative, which would be indicative of, foreign countries, hill country, and they use it for desertous area, which we also have here translated back as land. Do you know what I'm missing about this 049 glyph and how in this word Kemet is translated to mean land?
Yeah, so again, so one thing that I will say first, I hope you'll be excited that I can provide other examples of, regions that are given the city determinative.
Okay.
So especially when they say Ta Mehu, the land of Lower Egypt, or Shemau, Upper Egypt. A lot of times they'll give those city determinatives. Not always.
No, I'm with you.
But sometimes.
I'm with you on those, but that appears unfair because they literally say land there. Ta.
Sometimes, but not always. So sometimes it's Ta Mehu, sometimes it's just Mehu, sometimes it's Ta Shemau, sometimes it's just Shemau.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
And even when we see Shemau, we know they talk about Ta Shemau. And Mehu, we know they talking about Ta Mehu. And so the Ta is omitted.
Yeah, but again, going back to now.
So I just had to say that at the end. But the Ta is omitted. And he says, yeah, and then want to go back to what we're talking about. What that means is that is a Ta really there. And so that the 049 isn't standing to represent land in that instance because the word Ta is there, but it's just omitted for graphic purposes.
Now your question about whether we should translate Kemet as the land of Egypt, you're quite correct here in saying that there's nothing clearly in this word or in kind of attestations of this word to say the land of versus Egypt.
So he gave it up. Like, you're right, though. He gave me his point, but he's saying you're right, though. This is what we always say on this show, and this is referring to the experts. He like, you're quite correct. Ain't nothing in this word that refer to no land. Let's go back. 9 glyph and how in this word Kemet is translated to mean land.
Yeah, so again, so one thing that I will say first, I hope you'll be excited that I can provide other examples of, regions that are given the city determinative.
Okay.
So especially when they say Ta Mehu, the land of Lower Egypt, or Shemau, Upper Egypt. A lot of times they'll give those city determinatives. Not always.
No, I'm with you.
But sometimes.
I'm with you on those, but that appears unfair because they literally say land there. Ta.
Sometimes, but not always. So sometimes it's Ta Mehu, sometimes it's just Mehu, sometimes it's Ta Shemau, sometimes it's just Shemau.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
And even when we see Shemau, we know they talk about Ta Shemau. And Mehu, we know they talk about Ta Mehu. And so the Ta is omitted.
Yeah, but again, going back to now your question about whether we should translate Kemet as the land of Egypt, You're quite correct here in saying that there's nothing clearly in this word or in kind of attestations of this word to say the land of versus Egypt. What this literally says is that which is black.
Wow. So let's stop
Like
here.
the
Now, y'all understand, he just told us this says that which is black, and there's nothing in the word to let us know what is black. What's letting us know what they're talking about is the determinative or the classifier. James said, but he said sometimes tie is omitted. No, we can find plentiful examples of that. He's right, James. But my point about that is, if we know that there's a tie there that's omitted, I wasn't clear enough to say that's not the type of example I'm looking for. I'm looking for an example of a word where there's no tie to represent land, and we still translate it to say land because of this 049 glyph. So I take that was me. I didn't let him know what I was looking for correctly.
abstract black thing. And then from there, people have added their own flair and nuance in translations, possibly. And again, maybe this is where you're getting maybe where your research is getting at something, but possibly in an inconsistent way with other geographic terms.
Did y'all hear that? They've added their own twist and their own flair, and it's possibly what my research is getting at, that is inconsistent with other geographic terms. Man, I'm doing this for the illiterate skeptics. I know all the real people understand. But them ones who keep saying, no, but that ain't what he said. And so the tie is omitted.
Yeah, but again, going back to now your question about whether we should translate Kemet as the land of Egypt, you're quite correct here in saying that there's nothing clearly in this word or in kind of attestations of this word to say the land of versus Egypt. What this literally says is that which is black. Like the abstract black thing. And then from there, people have added their own flair and nuance in translations, possibly. And again, maybe this is where you're getting maybe where your research is getting at something, but possibly in an inconsistent way with other geographic terms.
Very much so. Now, when the scholars and they've all come to a consensus of somewhat what you told me, then the question is, what is which black? You know what I'm saying? And it comes. I said, what is which is black? And he understood what I said. And I said, it comes down to the people of the soil. In order not to be antagonistic and from the 70s, I put the people away from them for a minute so we could talk about something more comfortable. As he said, the discourse could get uncomfortable for him at times. So I'm just sensitive to what he told me. Down to, again, the people of the soil. So I'm going to leave the people think along a bit and try to see what scholars leaned on besides secondary sources to come to the conclusion that the blackness that this referred to was the Nile silt.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the, unfortunately, I think one of the major conclusions or one of the major influences here is there is a racist element, certainly, in the history of scholarship. But two, I think there's nothing.
So number one, a racist element helped them to decide that this didn't have nothing to do with black people. Better yet, a racist element helped them decide that this has something to do with black silk. Man. And you rocking with people who still want to say it mean the silk? Now, when the scholars and they've all come to a consensus of somewhat what you told me, then the question is, what is which black. You know what I'm saying? And it comes down to, again, the people of the story. So I'm going to leave the people thinking along a bit and try to see what scholars leaned on besides secondary sources to come to the conclusion that the blackness that this referred to was the Nile silt.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the, unfortunately, I think one of the major conclusions or one of the major influences here is there is a racist element, certainly in the history of scholarship. But two, I think there's nothing that I know of necessarily. Like there's no one text that I can point you to. And again, this is not my area of expertise, so maybe I'm missing something here, but there's not one text that I can point you to that specifically says, by Kemet, we mean the black silt, and specifically silt. And
now, that's the second Egyptologist who said it ain't nothing they can point you to ever to make you say that they talking about the black silt. Now, something else that he said, this ain't his area of expertise. It has to let you know how humble and real a PhD is. They saying, I don't look at this question all day. I have another research question that I am answering.
Expertise, so maybe I'm missing something here, but there's not one text that I can point you to that specifically says, by Kemet, we mean the black silt.
So I heard somebody celebrating that he said he had not seen any attestations that say the black people, but them same people wasn't celebrating. They couldn't even hear that he said it ain't no attestations for the black silt. You notice that? You ain't even trip off that, huh? None. And he gonna go further in on the silt. Now, I'm the introductor. I introduce and beating up the silt. That's my play. I ran that play. Ain't none of us ran that play. I'm just saying, we all ran plays to get to this game one. Diop came with the whole playbook. We still running some of his, we could really run his same playbook like John Madden or Vince Lombardi because they ain't ready for that playbook. Trust me.
Expertise, so maybe I'm missing something here, but there's not one text that I can point you to that specifically says, by Kemet, we mean the black silt, and specifically silt, and the land as opposed to people. But what I think is more convincing.
Did he say at the end, and the land as opposed to people? Did he say that at the end? See, you got to sample stuff because cats be letting it get past. Don't worry. If I didn't have all this work to do in real life, and so the tie is omitted.
Yeah, but again, going back to now your question about whether we should translate Kemet as the land of Egypt, you're quite correct here in saying that there's nothing clearly in this word or in kind of attestations of this word to say the land of versus Egypt. What this literally says is that which is black. Like the abstract black thing. And then from there, people have added their own flair and nuance in translations, possibly, and again, maybe this is where maybe where your research is getting at something, but possibly in an inconsistent way with other geographic terms.
Very much so. Now, so when y'all heard him say the abstract black thing, that's when y'all got lost. Like, oh, he trying to be, nah. So let me go into J.P. Allen if I can. Here, I got it open, and I'm gonna type the abstract. And I was saying he talking about from the grammatical standpoint. So we're going to see how he J.P. Allen break this down for all of us, right? Now look, writing, games, music. Papyrus roll, also verticals, determine writing and abstract concepts. So when somebody said something about the abstract the other day, I was like, no, the ancient Egyptians also indicate the abstract. They indicated with a papyrus roll. Right? It's meaning I call it something intangible, or most of the times it's something that you can't physically touch, like black, the color. You know, something could be black. You could touch something that is black, but you just can't touch black. So it will have a papyrus roll onto it as well. But let's see if he goes into these abstracts. Besides him just sitting. Now look. All right. Well, he's talking about this here. The abstract noun perfection, on the other hand, is written with the plural strokes. He's just talking about that now. He's not really talking about. All right. Well. But as we see, he wasn't saying it like to throw us off. He was using the grammatical sense. I was trying to find a lesson in this book so we could go over it real quick, but I ain't gonna throw us that far off. Matter of fact, let's just listen. And the scholars, and they've all came to a consensus of somewhat what you told me. Then the question is, what is which black? You know what I'm saying? And it comes down to, again, the people of the story. So I'm going to leave the people thing along a bit and try to see what scholars leaned on besides secondary sources to come to the conclusion that the blackness that this referred to was the Nile silt.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the, unfortunately, I think one of the major conclusions, or one of the major influences here, is there is a racist element, certainly, in the history of scholarship. But two, I think there's nothing that I know of necessarily. Like, there's no one text that I can point you to. And again, this is not my area of expertise, so maybe I'm missing something here. But there's not one text that I can point you to that specifically says, by Kemet, we mean the black silt, and specifically silt, and the land as opposed to people. But what I think is more convincing to me is the contrast that is drawn between Kemet and Deshret.
All right.
So these terms are often contrast together, where you can see then, Deshret, clearly it means red. It's given a foreign land determinative, contrasted with Kemet. We know, for example, that, a lot of funerary figures are depicted with black skin. Again, and they're depicted with black skin in some cases, green skin with other cases, Mediterranean olive skin in other cases, brown skin in other cases, kind of like every color under the sun. So that it does maybe there, Kemet here might speak to something specifically identified with the Nile Valley or the area around the Nile, where we know that most Egyptian cities were, as opposed to something foreign.
So we just saying the Black City. I got a whole bunch of literature on that's going to beat the brakes off y'all, right? But we just saying the Black City. And I got a whole nother video with the scholars saying it's the Black City. So we ain't in no disagreements here.
So I think that's where the assumption comes from, that this must be referring to something like alluvial silt. But in my mind, or at least my understanding, this is a leap in logic, that there is not a clear...
Hold on, wait, he just killed the riparians. Why he just killed the riparians on the under? Listen to what he say, because they said this meant the riparian zone. So let's listen.
Their expertise, so maybe I'm missing something here, but there's not one text that I can point you to that specifically says, by Kemet, we mean the black silt, and specifically silt, and the land as opposed to people. But what I think is more convincing to me is the contrast that is drawn between Kemet and Deshret. So these terms are often contrast together, where you can see then, you know, Deshret, clearly it means red. It's given a foreign land determinative contrasted with Kemet. We know, for example, that, you know, a lot of like funerary figures are depicted with black skin. Again, and they're depicted with black skin. In some cases,
I ain't even listening that hard, but American Dream, you showing me you must not have been in no cool school in Jamaica. You probably run down school now. Because you can't hear, or you just a hater.
Expertise, so maybe I'm missing something here, but there's not one text that I can point you to that specifically says, by Kemet, we mean the black silt.
You don't hear
and
that?
Specifically silt and the land as opposed to people. But what I think is more convincing to me is the contrast that is drawn between Kemet and Deshret. So these terms are often contrast together, where you can see then, you know, Deshret, clearly it means red. It's given a foreign land determinative contrasted with Kemet. We know, for example, that, you know, a lot of like funerary figures are depicted with black skin. Again, and they're depicted with black skin in some cases, green skin with other cases, you know, Mediterranean olive skin in other cases, brown skin in other cases, kind of like every color under the sun. So that it does maybe there, Kemet here might speak to something specifically identified with the Nile Valley or the area around the Nile, where we know that most Egyptian cities were, as opposed to something foreign. So I think that's where the assumption comes from, that this must be referring to something like alluvial silt. But in my mind, or at least my understanding, this is a leap in logic, that there is not a clear, absolutely conclusive statement that then we can say, oh yes, by Kemet, they simply meant the black alluvial soil, as opposed to anything else.
Thank you for that. Now, a lot of different people just heard him say a lot of different things, and I think that's the sad part. I think cats be hearing what they want to hear and not what a person is saying. You know what I'm saying? So let's listen to my response. Then I want to support my response with some primary text. Then I'll open up the chat. We had about an hour. Maybe I'll play some more of the audio we haven't heard. I know you've done Luxor, the Edfu project, and specifically when if I could talk about Edfu HaKanum, you dealt with Kanum.
Oh yeah, no, this
making man
Kanum
at Edfu or
Kanum
not?
was at Esna. So let me see if I can get to my response.
Too far off. I just would like to hear why is there no attestation to Kimmy, who is Asar in his state as the black one? I have a few of those attestations.
Wait a minute. I want to find it.
This is kind of like every color under the sun, so that it does maybe there, Kemet here might speak to something specifically identified.
I need a better player or something.
Specifically, when if I could talk about Edfu HaKanum, you dealt with Kanum.
Yeah. So that's wrong. He didn't
Kind
deal
of
with Kanum.
hesitant of Plutarch as a.
All right, here we go with Plutarch. That's what I'm looking for.
Too far off. I just would like to hear why is there no attestation to Kimmy?
All right, we gotta go back, man. Fuck, I just gotta let it play.
He went on to say that everything that was
I just gotta let it play. Because here's my response, and here's the truth.
Creative, life-producing qualities of sea.
Apologize, y'all. I'm tripping over here.
Specifically, when if I could talk about Edfu HaKanum,
all right, yeah, let's just listen from
here. Making man at Edfu or not?
That is more Knum makes man.
Esna, huh?
Esna, yeah, Esna. I was gonna say Esna.
Okay, thank you. So I apologize for that. But I was going to ask about the, some terms, but I still have some other ones. So Plutarch said, and you know, that's secondary too. I'm not acting like that's his primary source, but as close as we could get, he said the ancient Egyptians, first he said Osiris was dark, not because he was from Nubia, but he said he was dark because ancient Egyptians thought that moisture darkened things. And so he even went on to say that they gave the creative life-producing qualities of seed to moisture and not to anything about the silk. And now that could get tangled up and used because he says water darkens the earth, it darkens hair. He had this notion that water made your hair dark. And then he said, and for this reason, Osiris was dark. And in contrast to that, Sutek or Set was red. And he said, because of this reason, we could find his words that ancient Egyptians did not like to associate with people of a reddish, sallow, S-A-L-L-O-W color. This is Plutarch's talk. So in my mind, I was like, well, what color did Plutarch consider himself? He had the nerve to say that, oh, Egyptians don't like dealing with people of this reddish color. He said Osiris was dark because of moisture. And then he went on to say that everything that was arid, dry, and desolate that's the nature of the red one, Sutek, right? And so this is the contrast that I think we overlook a little bit when seeing no one ever talks about just the attributes of it being arid and dry, as opposed to the areas around the Nile being moist. Here's another thing, and I'll ask what your comments on this. If it was that important, we would have a god of the Nile mud, not a god of the Nile, because they thought the water was most important. They could not know about mytozoa or all these microscopic things they just like, when the water come, it get popping. And so not to go too far off, I just would like to hear why is there no attestation to Kemet, who is Asar in his state as the black one? I have a few of those attestations. We know when he's called the black one, he's called Kemet. There is no name for his green effigy. Waj is never listed next to any vignette when we find him green. And we start to figure out the symbolism has just been like, they threw it up in the air and just labeled. They didn't pay fine attention to the color symbolism. I shouldn't say it that way. I just think some things got missed when we addressed that color symbolism. So I know my question or my statement has been long-winded, so I'd like to hear from you.
No, I'll try to give a similarly long-winded answer. So I think the one thing, because you were kind of hesitant of Plutarch as a source, and I would second that. I think when we think of one of the things that we know about Egyptian traditions concerning Osiris, and we know this from, for example, like the temples of Dendera, or the Temple of Dendera, where you have this kind of these Osirian chapels on the roof. And we know from these chapels that there's a wealth of traditions about Osiris, and that supposedly each major city in Egypt had its own traditions about Osiris and its own way of looking at things. So that acknowledges the possibility that whatever Hem and his association with Osiris might not only vary across time, but might vary geographically as well. And so certain people or certain communities within the Nile might be able to read more significance into the blackness than others, or might have chosen to read more significance into the blackness of Osiris than others. This is an acknowledgement of the diversity that was ancient Egypt. Now, Plutarch, essentially what he's doing is he's representing a colonial voice that's coming in and essentially trying to take these traditions and make them perceptible by glossing over their difference, so they can be learned by the essentially by the colonizers, if we want to use even that term. and also to make it comprehensible for people that are not Egyptian, because again, admittedly, the Egyptian system was incredibly complex because you're dealing with like now 3,000 years of really rigorous intellectual history that that now someone who doesn't understand the system is trying to understand. So that's the first thing. I think when it comes to wet and dry, I think what Plutarch is doing here, he's importing and viewing ancient Egyptian religion to some extent through the lens of Greek medical knowledge, or through the lens of, I don't know if it's actually that's accurate. I don't know if it's Greek or kind of Eastern Mediterranean, or whether the Egyptian doctors would have kind of considered this. I probably think not, because it's so similar to things like Hippocrates, where they kind of take like these balance of wetness and dryness very, very seriously, and that these are all kind of like the geography of how hot or dry or humid or cold. This will determine not only your culture or your personality, but also again the nature of your ethnicity. That these so he
so he said 1, 2, 3. The first he said racism. The question is, why do they say that this is black because of the silk? His first answer was racism. His second answer, I can't even remember. And his third, y'all can write a second answer in the chat, and I'm going to say, oh yeah, I don't feel like rewinding. And his third answer is, he's saying he think what's strongest is this contrast. But you know, I deal with primary sources, so I'm about to beat that up right now. All the way dead. Watch this.
He's importing a lot of that baggage, or a lot of that, knowledge into his now description of Osiris. Now, the final point that I think I'll make is you're quite correct that we don't have anyone that's called like the god of the alluvial soil, and that Osiris, as you mentioned, is called the Black One, is shown with black skin. One of the things that that perhaps complicates the lack of evidence for an alluvial god is that I'm not sure I'm not sure if you're aware of the kind of the corn mummies of Osiris. Yeah. So like that seems to me to
it ain't no alluvial god. He said all that. I'm gonna skip to one more part if I can find it. Then we're gonna come back to this, because all they trying to lean on, as he told you, is the distinction between black and red. Now, if I'm an archer, I'm gonna shoot that right in the eye. Emi Magi Misha Asha Seti Enek Seti Ini. I'm trying to think. I have shot that mug in the eye. I don't know how you say that mug in the eye in Medu Neter. Uri Peth, Uri Sin Peth, that brother's eye. Uri Sin Peth, right? That brother's eye. Peth, right? Or pen, whatever. I'm getting distracted.
Cattle metaphors. I think this is a really.
Hold on. I was looking for something. If I could find it. If not, I'm not gonna trip. Yeah, because I heard some people talking like they just crazy. It's the back of the class flow. It's that back of the class flow. Like, you just want to hop on the tube and be like, saying something and you ain't even seen the whole video. Golly, that's just setting yourself up. So you think Smash gonna get in front of some Egyptologists and not show them the things that they say they have never seen? I'm not even taking advantage of how bad cats set themselves up, because I'm not concerned with that. I really ain't. I just be wanting cats to know they look dumb. Let me see.
Can we go back to it? It's really interesting because you have so the interplay.
Oh, I didn't show him nothing. Now he want to go back to it. Is really interesting. Dang, y'all never heard these parts. Ooh, don't play yourself and jump the gun. You feel way too froggish. Held in high esteem in your field as well as you. So let's listen to some of this. Now, what I'm going to do is go to, what did I do? What I'm going to attempt to do is go to exactly what I was showing in the other presentation at the time that I'm showing it. Right? So y'all remember what we said about this? Let's hear what he got to say about it. You don't even know. We be watching y'all work. I'm telling you, just in layman's terms, I'm feeling endeared to your the way that you giving me knowledge, right? And I'm just telling you, we watching. And so I don't. You do have something in that. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, come on, man. Just come on, man. Golly. In my research that I've shown other people and got a lot of contention. I know because people don't really. Now, well, so sometimes if you go, we're about to look at really old books and pull up things. People have two ways to discredit you. The first way they're going to say is, "Oh, that's a really old source or something." But if it hasn't been debunked or discredited, right, then it still stands. And so I want to go into some of the work of Herman Ranke. I want to go into some of the work of who? Herman Ranke. Okay. They messed up. They just got their audience. They just trying to, I don't know what they running, the 3-card Molly. If I said that correctly. Mm-hmm. And persons and names of the Middle Kingdom. So this is just one of my presentations right here. We see a bas relief at the mortuary temple of Ramses III. Where I was showing people you don't really need the determinative on Kim when using it as a color classifier. And so we see different cattle classified in different ways. I'll just zoom through this. That's so cool. Can we go back to it? It's really interesting because you have, so the interplay of art and text is something that obviously the Medu-Neter not only allows but encourages. So in a way, you could even think of these 4 cattle as being the classifiers of the words. But it's really cool here because we have it's like they're collecting all. Y'all gotta learn what he's saying. He's saying you can look at the cattle as the determinatives. So he's telling y'all what he needs to tell you scientifically. He not ever gonna come out in face until we force it. Ain't nobody about to say nothing crazy. But listen to what he says. He's telling you that these cattle could be looked at as the classifiers. Now watch all the things he say about this. But we didn't show him nothing, huh? I found in my research that I've shown other people and got a lot of contention. I know because people don't really. Well, sometimes if you go into really old books and pull up things, people have two ways to discredit you. The first way they're going to say is, "Oh, that's a really old source or something." But if it hasn't been debunked or discredited, right, then it still stands. And so I want to go into some of the work of Herman Ranke, if I said that correctly, and persons and names of the Middle Kingdom. So this is just one of my presentations right here. We see a bas relief at the mortuary temple of Ramses III, where I was showing people you don't really need the determinative on Kim when using it as a color classifier. And so we see different cattle classified in different ways. Okay. I'll just zoom through this. That's so cool. Can we go back to it? I shouldn't have said color classifier. I should have just been saying as a color, but yeah. But it's really interesting because you have, so the interplay of art and text is something that obviously the Medu-Neter not only allows but encourages. So in a way, you could even think of these 4 cattle as being the classifiers of the words. But it's really cool here because we have it's like they're collecting all these, like literally a rainbow of cattle. So the bottom one is the black cattle. The one above it is the red cattle. The one above it is the white cattle. And then the one above it is sob. That means kind of multi pattern. Yeah. Keep continue. No, I mean it's just a really interesting example because and again, what I would say is going on here, because this is in the Temple of Ramses III.
And so basically what he's trying to do, what it's in his interest of doing, is to show control, because he's the one that's holding the leashes of all of these cattle, that he's kind of, in control of all the different ethnicities or breeds of cattle, just as he is in control of all the different.
Jay Mill told me to change that too, because he got the picture and he like, that's just a little part. But see, we know too much.
Peoples that might live in the world.
Wonderful. Oh, I messed it up. Sorry. Did y'all hear him say this might be classifications of people that live in the world? All right, well, listen. Different ethnicities. Let's listen.
In my research that I've shown other
Sorry, I
people
messed it up. I'm
and got a lot of contention. I know, because people don't really. Well, sometimes if you go into really.
It's really interesting because you have so the interplay of art and text is something that obviously the Medu not only allows but encourages. So in a way, you could even think of these four cattle as being the classifiers of the words. But it's really cool here because we have it's like they're collecting all these, like literally a rainbow of cattle. So the bottom one is the black cattle. The one above it is the red cattle. The one above it is the white cattle. And then the one above it is sob. That means kind of multi pattern. Yeah.
Continue.
No, I mean it's just a really interesting example because and again, what I would say is going on here, because this is in the Temple of Ramses III. And so basically what he's trying to do, what it's in his interest of doing, is to show control, because he's the one that's holding the leashes of all of these cattle, that he's kind of, in control of all the different ethnicities or breeds of cattle, just as he is in control of all the different peoples that might live in the world.
So stop. He just broke it down like Baba Reggie. Because the cattle is people. Oh my gosh. So y'all think when he but he the one who went further to say that these is the different ethnicities. So y'all know cattle ain't got ethnic groups, right? And what's the black cattle called? Kemet. God, you can't make this up. He killed it. He killed it all the way, but they be jumping the gun. So let's hop through, because I got so much of this. I could just string them and make them look stupider every day. Every day, when they hop out the fence on this, then string them along, just like my man said. Oh, we ain't let them see nothing. Why play yourself like that? You would look like a bozo. God. Boy, don't have me play this. Nah, we just gonna save some of that. Hold on. Let's play this.
The things I think we could definitely say.
Uh-oh, yeah. Now y'all about to hear me back him up. Not like that. This my man's. Don't get it twisted. Everything he said 100% qualified. That don't mean you gotta agree with everything because somebody's an expert. But at this point in the video, it's different than the beginning. And so I was like, can we start getting it in? I put this up, and let's see what happens. I think I put up, where'd it go? Here, right here. Black skin.
And now I've had I talked to grammarians about this, and some tried to argue it was a title. Herman Rankin
that's the
did
next
not.
one. That's the next one. Oh, I ain't gonna let them do that. They can't see
The things I think we could definitely say.
Yeah. Nope, we gonna go here.
The things I
Nope, they don't need that yet.
I think I know.
Yeah, it ain't no damn title.
Using this one because they could
right
be
here.
referring to a black sack. I actually have the primary, a facsimile of the primary, and this is just a reconstruction from Thesaurus Lingua Egypti. Now, face falls on face with this. We see the core and then the her with the three, and so I don't understand face falls on face, but apparently this is Shu grabbing Pepe to take him
now
back.
watch what he say here. He about to make this claim better than it ever was when we used it. Well, what we about to both figure out when we read the text is that the words because of are not in the text. But black skin is definitely in the text. So now he's going to let me know, and we all concluded this in the back chat. You can conclude this on YouTube. Face falls on face don't make no sense. This is Thesaurus Lingua Egypti's translation, a well-qualified institution. But we about to go at it like some grammarians.
To be amongst the Necharu. And so this black skin where we see anim or whatever, anim, and then we got the determinative for hair, and then the kim modifying the skin. Am I reading that wrong?
So pyramid texts are always weird. This also, I'd say in the transliteration, we might have one too many or two too many hairs, because it does seem to say like faces fell or may fall on the black color.
See, he want to work with it, but he want to work with it. This my man right here. Now he like the faces gonna fall on the black color, but now, I'm gonna go back and not let him get away with that. I'm gonna be like, nah, they specifically talking about the skin family. Hold on. Let's see what happens.
Or too many hairs, because it does seem to say like faces fell or may fall on the black color.
Yeah, because where's because of the? You're right. I never
there's
seen
no
because of the.
There's no because of. I think basically so hair can mean because, but in order to make that happen, there has to be too many hairs. And we only have two hairs. The first one is clearly faces. So faces fall on.
Oh, he just helped me translate
the
Guess what this say? Faces fall upon the black skin face. Oh my God. That shoe picks up. That's what it say. I wish I would have realized this, because this last hair has the single stroke. That's literally a face. These faces right here that's falling should be read different. So this should be like Horu instead of three whores. It should be Horu whore or Heru hair. You feel me? Whore. Now I'm thinking a good translate. Now you got hair. This is not hair infinitive. This is hair, the face. This means skin or color, and this means black. So no matter what, it's going to be, yeah, Chris said yes. See, I love it when Chris say yes. That's to let you know. You feel me? So it might be that the faces fell on the black skin, the black color face that shoe picked up. But let's hear how the scholar, teacher, and grammarian reads it.
Yinim certainly can mean color, especially with the hair determinative. So faces fall on color, the black color. Seshu. Shoe.
See, we spot reading right now. He's just reading off the top like we be doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what seshu means. I'd have to look that up.
I can pull it up, but I think that was what.
Oh, you think the second place is a preposition? Okay.
They was using for picked up. Now,
Yeah.
And this is.
But well, I don't know how we getting face falls on face, but it definitely ain't no because here. But I'm gonna stop interrupting. Let's hear this, and then we're gonna go back.
This translation is by Thesaurus Lingua. I mean the TLA. So just for the record, I didn't make this translation. I was kind of agree with you about the too many hers or whatever, but it's so much of this. I just want to get your comments, and I don't want to take all of your day, so I'm just going to go through them. So
I skipped over to this because in the beginning of the video, Remember, he never seen no attestations of it saying the black one. Don't play me, son. God, now what? I ain't even, and so I'm respectable. So since this is such a checkmate, it literally say it on the screen. I'm not about to make us go in on this. Cause why? That's gonna that's being antagonistic and childish. So look, put it in your face.
We understand that on the Stella of Abku, we do find a Hemi where they're talking about, even though I don't have that here, they're talking about Osiris as the Black One. But I was coming here to get the rankings work of persons and names of the Middle Egyptian. So this is me copying directly from the website, just so everyone know. This is my opinion on the screen. And Herman Ranker took the name Takemi when he found it in the 3 attestations, and one of them was the same person. That's what that kind of means. The dark one, and when he said the type of name, it was demonstrative pronoun plus an attribute, and the attribute being a physical quality. So here we see they made it.
So I want to point something out. The demonstrative pronoun here used on the person is ta. Well, let's let the teacher teach. I'm sorry.
Nisba out of the term, the root Kim, put a reed leaf on it, you know what I'm saying? And they make Kimi, the black one, or one associated to darkness. And the ta, they really use, he called it a demonstrative pronoun. I guess definite article or demonstrative pronoun. But this is saying the dark one. Would you read and would you read this the same way?
It's so I will also say I'm not an expert in personal names, and I'm also not a spelling in. So I think these sources, they seem to be, especially the first one, is coming from an administrative text. So I think there's a few different ways to read this. You could either say it's Takemi is short for Takemit. Again, so the black feminine one.
Oh, they didn't hear that part, James.
And then we know it's clearly feminine there because we have the ta instead of a pa. So then Kemi would probably originally have had a feminine ending. But again, this is not Kemeti, but Kemit. So the black female one, as opposed to the one that belongs to that which is black.
He just killed y'all. Y'all didn't know I had that soundbite. God, cats will sit around and make theyself look crazy. Excuse me for screaming because my mic already be hella loud. Right? But when you get juiced like you watching the sports games, I'm going to go watch some March Madness. I'm screaming at the TV today. Let's go. You know what? I get emotional when I watch women's hoop. But I watch male hoop, I don't get emotional. When I watch female sports and they be trying their hardest, I get emotional. Now look at the screen. They didn't know I had the sound bite where he gave you the opposite to that which is black. See, earlier he said he never seen the black one. Earlier he said he never seen, he ain't got no accounts. Why would I play that on day one? Y'all doofuses. Y'all don't even know how to run a show, a YouTube. You ain't never seen they go to commercial, keep people in suspense and shit. Y'all just bump a rumple.
On the screen. And Herman Ranker took the name Takemi when he found it in the 3 attestations, and one of them was the same.
All right, somebody pop American Dream real quick.
The dark one, and when he said the type of name.
Popping for about 5 minutes, man.
It was demonstrative pronoun plus an attribute, and the attribute being a physical quality. So here we see they made a nisba out of the term, the root Kim, put a reed leaf on it, you know what I'm saying? And they
hold on, man. I know we got shooters.
The black one or one
I know we got archers in the chat. Ain't nobody put an arrow in American Dream real quick. Give him like 90, no, more than 90 seconds. Give him like 300 seconds. He welcome, but he just a distraction. Thanks for popping him. Arrows up. We still having fun, American Dream. Keep listening.
The darkness. And the ta, they really used, he called it a demonstrative pronoun. I guess definite article or demonstrative pronoun. But this is saying the dark one. Would you read and would you read this the same way?
It's so I will also say I'm not an expert in personal names, and I'm also not a spelling in. So these are, I think these sources, they seem to be, especially the first one, is coming from an administrative text. So I think there's a few different ways to read this. You could either say it's ta kemi is short for ta kemit. Again, so the black feminine one.
Ooh,
and then we know it's clearly feminine there because we have the ta instead of a pa.
See, he's so honest. In the beginning of the video, he said, I ain't never seen that. So I wasn't going, I accidentally, when y'all see the real video, if I get the, because he being so honest, we said, let's have a private discourse, and then he's going to be able to look at what we talked about and then reveal who this is, right? But God, he killed it with that.
So then Kemi would probably originally have had a feminine ending. But again, this is not Kemeti, but Kemit. So the black female one, as opposed to the one that belongs to that which is black.
See, she is not the one that belongs to that which is black. Oh man, I could have did it better with sound effects. You know what I mean? I'm going to get back on my sound effects and everything. I'm just doing too much in life right now, so I barely get to stream. Right? So it's over right there. I ain't going to show them no more because I'm going to let them keep on falling off. Let's go to, I'll show them. Now we're going to show the difference between, now again, look, man. Look, we all learn how to read in grade school. So if you don't understand what this stuff say, you can still catch up. But when we go into the meta, you probably should be quiet. Right? Especially when you see the expert say, I read that expertly. So now I'm about to open up the chat because I don't like it to be only my opinion. Hopefully we can get, text on the screen. Hopefully we can get some readers in here. Let's see. Oh, that's not it. Zoom. Feel free to hit the link, but we building up. Unless if you
recording in progress.
Don't even hit the link, American Dream. I'm gonna do a whole show that's hosting for you, American Dream. Put in the wait room.
Recording stopped.
I don't want to do none of them silly arguments no more. You like the last fly in the chat, American Dream. Everybody else know they ain't got no business over here. It's just American Dream. Still trying to troll. Don't nobody show up on our block. Our block be so secure. It ain't safe in they chat. They gotta ban arrows. They banning arrows in their chat. That's the saddest thing I ever seen. When you overwhelmed by somebody else's support, that you gotta take a move against it. But look how safe it is in Mijah. Ain't y'all tripped off that? It ain't been a mouse in the chat. They stay in the bushes. We gonna set the bushes on fire. Let's start shooting in the bushes. Right now I'm shooting in the bushes. Garfield got the brakes beat off him by Karakuni. Hey, we shooting in the bushes right now. You know who watching? We shooting in. I'm gonna hit in the eye in the bush. Watch this. Garfield got the brakes beat off him by Karakuni. She kept on wanting to tell him that the ancient Egyptians was black. His mask was cracked. They didn't even look like they had they enjoyed the conversation. Peace to brother Asar M. Kai. How you doing today?
Man, they behind like a puff party. It's going down right now.
Uh-oh. Now,
And free my man Puff. He ain't do nothing. He just was putting on parties. Cats was acting.
You know what?
But,
I wanna see the end of that whole thing. I might do a show on some hip hop stuff and talk about that later. Because I used to think that was all conspiracy theory. Like my experience with hip hop led me to believe that everybody who said stuff like that was happening. I thought they just didn't know the industry, bruh.
well, you know, Black Rob and them is from the block and all that. It's just so McGruff and all them. Positive K tried to get my man Nitty, dark skinned Jermaine, in the mix with them. So we seeing what's going on because Puff grabbed Loon. And Loon was with us with Crime Fam. So Lord, let me shut up. Let me do that. Let me shut up on that.
Hey Reggie, hit the link if you can. Chris, if you got time.
Yeah.
Please.
But you mentioned something just a second ago which makes the most sense, right? A scholar can enjoy a conversation with you because you're on the level of the metal that you're speaking and understanding. So it when you guys are deciphering it together, it's complementary as opposed to a teaching moment all the time for him. When they're talking to scholars, the scholar is like, did you hear what I just said? Did you understand what I just told you?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see the levels of understanding this information. Not only that, none of them, not some of them, none of them have the skill set to understand the metal nature, to read it, to comprehend the thinking of the people at that time. They have no expertise in this field at all. They don't even have inklings of it in most cases. So this is why it's fun to see the interaction between you two and having the discussion, because you're bouncing off of them and he's bouncing off of you. And then he's saying, I know this in particular is like this because of my research. And you're saying, okay, I've done some research. This is what it looks like. Critique it for me. And let's go forth together. And I'm going to tell you what I saw. Tell me let's see if we can put it together. So it becomes a puzzle. It's a build.
All right. I'm going to come out the door with the big one then. Because I argued politely with him. Peace, Reggie. Peace, Chris. Thanks for tapping in.
Peace, Nash.
I argued
Peace,
politely
Peace,
with,
Rich.
I didn't argue, but I hypothesized politely with the scholar that, I got an answer for the black and the red, right? And I hit him with the secondary source. And he said, okay, I feel you. That is a secondary source. You feel what I'm saying? Look at Ankh in the bushes. Look. Look, just peeking in. What they doing? What they doing? Oh, that was Booger Banger. I had to get that screenshot. That's what that was. Oh yeah, it stay rowdy over here, but I'm not doing that right now. Let me calm down. Because I don't want to waste the scholar's time that I have, Brother Reggie, Brother Chris, and the Sar MK. So I actually want to look at, I said I'm going to start big, right? So let's just go on and beat the brakes off with this first attestation. Do I got to flip this around? Y'all already trying to find it.
It's upside down.
Oh, well, guess what? I found, so it's crazy, but this might not be the one. But, because I already flipped it the right direction.
Okay.
So,
what you sipping, Saber?
Oh man. I know some of you watched me last night. Oh man, but getting back to this. Okay, so here's some key statements. I am not an expert in personal names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the expert in personal names? Carmen Rank.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen Rank is the expert in personal names.
Mm-hmm.
So that means a scholar who says that he's not an expert in personal names has to default to Herman Rank.
But he said it meant the black feminine one anyway. He killed him.
Exactly.
Whoa. Don't say that, Smash. Don't say that yet.
Hey, but look on the screen, y'all. We got a
Can't
real
say his
killer right
name
here.
yet.
Why don't y'all work this out? I'm not even gonna trip. I'm gonna tell you it's down by
Line
line
24.
24. This killing them. I told y'all I got the attestation. This prove it right here. The black is Horus and the red is Sutek. What I told y'all. Now look and see if I'm wrong.
Ra'et, Kim, M.
They gave the black community to the Horus. Or you could say a Sar. But we know for a fact that the red went to Sutek.
The Shratu and Sutek at the back, and then Sutek is hitting himself in the head for that. Yeah, there it is.
Now, and we can keep going. And then they divided our Pes, right? Pes sin, they divided the two lands basically amongst them.
Tawi.
Now, do somebody read that different?
No.
Because if the black land was for Horus and the red was for Sutek, they go up primary with the goddamn answer. Excuse my language.
Say, but flag in the building. So 24 for the people is Ra'et.
I argue politely with
Peace, brother Flag.
Yeah, 24 is giving it to Horus. 25 is giving the Deshret land to Sutek. Says Deshretu in Sutek. And then it's got him hitting himself in the head with an axe. Then Pesh, Senu, Tawi, Ness, etc., etc. So, yeah, and I believe Jehudi does this in the Mythos. I haven't read this text.
Well, we can read it from the top. Do anybody else think I'm reading that wrong? Like they gave the black, I'm saying the black community to Horus, and then they gave the red, and they don't even say the red land. It's just the red to, or I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's got that spitter land at the bottom right there, right before
the alternative is that stroke right there.
Yeah.
For the heels, that little diagonal stroke is used a lot in late Egyptian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So after the Shrat, you see that it's called a spitter land.
Oh, you talking about the little the stroke instead of the Kushite glyph. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a diagonal wavy stroke. A diagonal wavy stroke. Yeah.
Is that the Sutek?
No, it's before.
For the word Deshret. Right, it's before.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm saying, but how do y'all read this whole line starting at about the beginning of 24?
Ra'et, Kimem, basically the community. And then you've got Horus, and then you've got this determiner. Then you go to the hand, you got the Shret with the spit of land determiner right at the end. So you know it's the red land. And you've got it, or actually it's the Shret 2 in Sutek. That's what I've got. And I could probably get it better than that, but I'm just rushing through it. Yeah, Saban, we got the big dogs in the building. Go ahead, Saban and Chris. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, giving Kemet to Heru, but first we got to parse out. Some people in the audience probably don't know that glyph. They're gonna say, "Well, how you know it's Heru?" Right? We see an open mouth there, but that little glyph at the top, and then the next part is Deshret Ni Satesh, giving Kemet to Horus and Deshret to Satesh, and then we have Imsep, Impesh Sin, and dividing them lands, Nesnu, between them or amongst them.
So the two lands got divided between Horus and Seth. One was red and one was black. They can't show us no primary to contradict this.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to so your point here, this is part of like the contingents of Horus and Seth, right? This is at the kind of like the judgment, you would find it there where at the end of the day, the tribunal is basically rules. My thinking on how texts come together, but I think I had lost my point because you wanted to demonstrate this, but I want to go back to, even though he said that it's the feminine black one.
Oh, I can put it on the
right?
screen. I'll put it on the screen.
At the end of the day, even though he said the feminine, the black one, when he said that he's not an expert in personal names, right? Then even though you ultimately expertly got confirmation because you was playing 3D chess and I give it to you, Smash. You played 3D chess on him, right? You was loaded with the attestations, but once you say he's not the personal expert in the personal names, then everything else he says is basically what he can understand at that point, because he's not an expert in personal names. Herman Rank is the expert in personal names, and the personal names is what we're fighting for when it says the dark one, right? Male or feminine. I'll stop. I just want to say what happened and what's important, right? What's important is the people. The people get the personal names. He's not an expert in the people, the names of the people. That's
right.
what he said.
That's good. Now, for this text, what I brought this out, Reggie, for was to support my argument that I gave to the scholar when I said, well, Plutarch said that it's black and red because Osiris is black and Sutek is red. Now we find a primary that supports that. So that blows out any other, well, you know, the Nile is black and it got black silk, and then the hills is red. Don't have me whip out Alessandra Nibby that Reggie supplied me with. That was one of the best arrows you ever gave me back in the day. But I ain't stretching. This dude say that they gave Kemet I say the black city. It can't be Egypt because that Gesseret is inside of Egypt. Like, and so, you know what I'm saying? And the two lands, these are the two lands of the whole land we call Egypt today. So he gave Kemet to
Kemem, and it says Kemem.
Wait. That is part of the Kim in. He gave the Kim. Look, that's what I also want to show y'all. This is something else. I got a series of these Kemets that's just called Kim, just like this one. In the late period, they probably was just doing that practice. But it's Kim in hair.
But the problem is before the 24 is you say, someone said Ra'at. It's RD. It's RD.
Yeah, RD. Yeah, you're right.
Right? Mm-hmm. It's RD. And so that's feminine. So there might
No. That's not feminine, Reg.
It appears to be. But explain it to us. Is it marking the abstract? No.
No, that's cool. So what's going on here? So this is a use of the verb in the infinitive form. And when you make third weak verbs in infinitive, you add a T marker on it, but the verb itself is still masculine.
So
false T.
So he gave,
giving. So the infinitive
giving.
But
how is it in the third? How is it in the third though? If you know what I mean?
Feminine T. When you add the feminine T in most cases, when you're making something feminine, in this case, it's spelled with a T.
All right, what you said, Chris?
But remember though,
that's how you spell that.
So this is a third weak verb, right? It has 3 consonants, right? So ready. Right. So when you use it in the infinitive form, when it's called fronting sometimes.
Okay,
so,
I feel you. I'm sure.
Yes. So the object of what's being given here is Kemet, right?
All
So,
right. So by
so,
third
so
week, you
literally
mean the
you translate it.
triliteral though?
Go
Sorry
ahead.
to interrupt. You mean the triliteral by third week, but
Yeah, no, no.
the last consonant
Right.
is weak. So
Exactly.
I just wanted to explain that in the ungrammarian terms to the rest of everybody. I kind of picked up because I've been doing
Yes.
some of that
Yes.
study. So when you say third and you say second week, that's like a biliteral where the second phonetic complement ain't.
Yes.
Okay, great. So keep explaining.
Yes. Yep. So in this case, literal translation would be the giving, because infinitive verbs are actually nominal verb forms. So literally, you're saying the giving Kemet to Heru. The giving, but the giving don't sound right. So you can just say giving.
Okay.
But interesting. You actually add the T to Kemet, right? When the T is not the T is not there.
Oh, I'm not adding the. Oh yeah. Oh, giving Kim to. But okay. So how will we rectify that, Reggie? Because this is a later period text and not an earlier one. So this means that the T may be omitted, and because the derivative,
Right.
the derivative Kemet is already created. It's in existence. And we still, unless you think they talking about they gave a Threbus or someplace called Kim to Heru and then Jesheret to.
No.
So how would you
No.
rectify it?
I wouldn't. I would say that it's already rectified because it's late and it's scribal, right? So it's not what you call in the unless it's copied, but it's from a papyrus, right? Was it originally in hieratic, or
Yeah. It's from a papyrus.
was it originally in hieratic
I believe so.
or Demotic?
No,
So then
hieratic.
it's originally in hieratic, and so this is a transcription. This is a transcription. So there might be something else
I can
there.
open the book. It's Eric.
It might be
Eric
something else there.
6.
So I don't want to go. I don't need to go further with the grammar. I think you should take a Smash, a Saul, or Chris grammar course, right? But I think it's clear that it's the RD, right? It's the giving of Kemet to. Interesting that Horus is really interesting because the first time I actually ever seen Horus sideways is in the Med in the Nikata. And in the Nikata, they showed Horus on the side, right, as a beak. And Jedem Ankh, wherever he is, and Jedem Ankh exposed that they would sometimes write, sideways, right? And this comes funny. This is something from the pre-dynastic period, right? In the Kata, that Horus. But you are correct that he is giving the black Nuit or the black community. I could just say the black Nuit to Horus and giving the red the red land or piece of land or whatever the case, right? To Seth, as a source says, getting smashed with his own axe.
Now watch this.
Hold up. The
you
Jedem Ankh is in the audience. The Jedem Ankh, good brother, please come join us on the panel.
Oh, if you can, that'll be wonderful.
He knows.
2 seconds.
Jedem Ankh knows because that's the first thing I asked him when he walked into the Met. I said, when we got in back of the bot, I said, I have a problem. There's writing here. I don't understand what this is. And I can show it to you. And this is in pre-dynastic phase. And so I was like, this is writing. And Jed verified it. Now we have another example in a later period. But my good brother Jed, y'all got to know him. Chris, I don't know if you know Jed. He's from Dr. Ricketti's school. He's one of the expert teachers there, right? Under Bonacci. So there might be one or two more with Jed in his on his level. But yeah, so if he comes on, fine. Otherwise, He knows what I'm talking about, and maybe I'll find it for you.
Now, with this right here, and we can go from the top. Su Himef, Jedef, Nin, Aha. You know what I'm saying? Sutek, right? So is he about to fight Sutek, or is he gonna stand against Sutek? I see the feet. He's not standing against Sutek in Tameri. Now, how y'all read that? Somebody said, hey, don't fight with Sutek in Tameri. Am I reading that wrong? Because we're starting to read in English now. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? His Majesty said, don't fight Sutek in Tameri. Do that say that? I'll make it bigger. I mean, I know I'm getting advanced, reading it kind of expert. I'm just playing. But can y'all please help me with this? Because I see Su, y'all calling that Nisut, right? Him. So a servant of His Majesty or His Majesty? Him F. His Majesty. Jedef, right? Nin. I don't know where all the people at. All y'all ain't helping.
Oh,
Nin Aha Sutek M Tameri. But what I read it, or y'all can read it after me. I read His Majesty said, basically, because it's like he said, so, or the servant of His Majesty, because Su could be His Majesty, but His Majesty said, don't stand against Sutek in Tameri. Now somebody correct that. Please.
That's what it say.
Oh, okay.
That's what it say.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Aha, Sutek, smashing itself in the head. M, N, Ta. You see the land determined with the three sand pebbles underneath. Mer, you got the hole for love. It, you got the leaf and the bread loaf. And then you got two signs right there.
So it's telling him not to do something else to him. Who got line 3? I don't got line 3. But it seems like it's telling him don't do something else to him. What is that? Then is what's that next word? That's the word that's food.
NF is something his. I can't see what that is.
Oh, you know what that is? I know what that is. That's the Sutek staff turned backwards, though. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and for y'all who don't know why he's axing himself in the head and they got his symbol turned backwards, because they believe that if you write him killing himself or damaging himself or his emblems backwards, they have no power.
We might as well get this word down pat because it's all over the place. It's right here again. Now, I seen it in the staff lifts yesterday, Reggie, when I was looking up the Wasp Scepter. So I might still have that Gardner book open. I don't. I got hella other stuff I want to read for the people. We're going to beat the brakes off them. If I just share one of these things, like, let me just show you this. Reggie, you forgot this? We was on this 4 years ago, Reggie. I think I sent this to you 4 years ago, bro. I looked through my email and was like, damn, we've been studying. Wait, this ain't the side? Let's go to the bottom. Yeah, there you go. What this say? With the hieroglyph. And his father was Kim In. So but this is old work. You don't remember this, Reggie? We was emailing when y'all was doing the battle with the Sarnam back in the day. But I found Kimu in Herman Rankin's work. But now we get to look at the attestation to kind of get the context of it. So they say Kimu Ni. I don't know where they get the Ni from.
Right.
Hold on.
Yeah, he messed that up. It says son of Kimu. Kimu Sa Rek Sa Kimin.
All right, real quick. Dang, I gotta attend to some
Go
stuff.
back.
I'm gonna leave it on this one for y'all because I gotta send out an email real quick.
Go back to
which one to leave it on.
Oh well, okay. You can choose. You can choose the. You can go back to the Kimmel.
All right, the Kimmel. All right. Yeah, well, it's inside of here somewhere. Well, my daughter just walked in and gave me some information that kind of threw me off, so let me try to find the Kimmel real quick. I don't even know how to find it. I can't even think.
Okay, leave it
yeah,
there.
yeah. Let me
then.
handle some business real quick. I'm gonna give James the host.
So interesting. We really have to do some work on why there's two Nuits, right? Because Tarmeri is really the main land, right? Tarmeri is, and Kemet at sometimes was always thrown out, and they would always have to fight for it to get it back inside the land. So maybe at this time period, they got Tarmeri controls Kemet. Tarmeri
Off the
controls.
screen. Yeah, okay, it's back on.
Tarmeri controls Kemet.
I
Why you keep saying black land? We going for
All right,
okie doke.
I didn't say it live on YouTube because I was muted anyway. So the Black City, right? Yeah. So basically, what I think this is another incident that hopefully y'all can look over that. I'll be right back, man.
All right. Yeah, that question you asked, Brother Reggie, I was over there kind of tripping on those two Nuit symbols too. In the back, the two town determinatives, 049s. Like, why is it two of them?
I'm also thinking that the 049s are there because we've got the red land and we've got the black land being fought over.
Yeah, but these are community symbols, and the you said the black land and the red land again.
I did. I messed it up again. The
Christ.
locales, the localities.
Right. So the two communities, the two locales, right? Okay. So then the next line, I don't.
That's Sutek.
After the footnote 6, after the line 6.
Oh,
what's
on 6?
The line 7. Go to line 7.
So I got Uat,
Uat,
Kemem.
Kim, is it Kim in, or is this Kim and then it's in to start a new a section, right? So let me see something. Uat, I don't know what Uat means. Kim, that's still Kemet. Kemet in, and then there's the
That's Horus. That's Horus. That's
Kemet,
Horus.
and then, yeah, that's the Horus again. Kemet, Horus. So what does Uat mean? Or is it one of those one of those things that Chris was doing?
Reggie, wow. So you talking right at the beginning, before the 7,
Yeah, right. It starts with 7. It says Uat, Kemet, in Hor. So what
he's
is
getting millions
for eternity or for millions.
Which one y'all at?
Right?
Which one y'all at?
Line
we don't
7.
know what Uat means.
No, that ain't Uat right here.
Yeah.
I thought that was well, I think I could be wrong, man. I think that's a small ember giving us Ma. And then it's
you think that's the owl?
It's Ma.
That's what I thought it was.
Like Ma, like behold, but it got a T on it. But somebody can tell me if I'm wrong.
Scoot up to it more.
Okay, so see, so if it's Ma'at, it's like more.
No, not like Ma'at. Like, you know, they say Mech sometimes, but Chris can tell me if there's a formation of Ma that gives us Mat here.
You know why you're right? Because they got the tail feather and everything the same way as these other M's in the writing. But it looked like a quail chick at first. So, yeah.
What you think, Chris?
Yeah, but the problem is
I think Chris fell off.
Oh, Chris fell off.
I can't see him.
That bird is totally drawn different than the then the
The
M on the
owl.
second line,
Yeah,
right?
zoom in.
No, well,
I'm trying to handle something, but go ahead. I can just leave it
right.
on like
So
this.
that M is it does have the tail feather, but on the second line, when we say don't stand against Sutek in Kameri, that M, that bird is different than that bird on the on line 7.
Yeah, it looks like a quail chick to me and you.
And
at
then
first sight.
it's different than, right? Then it's different than the bird following it when it says Kim,
Yeah.
right? Maybe because it's the penmanship, maybe it's the penmanship with the writer, but it's okay, I'll say it's the penmanship of the writer. So
yeah, well, if you looking at it from the whatever they say how they try to structure stuff in a square, it looks like I don't know if it's just a little bit smaller because he's trying to make it, look right.
But this
or
is not
something.
original penmanship of the scribe.
Okay.
This is someone writing it off of the this is someone
The
writing,
hieratic. He's translating from hieratic to hieroglyphic.
right?
Yeah, so you could attribute it to a bad penmanship or something. I'm not sure. But it looks like the other owls is just a little, the head of it looks wrong.
Maybe on the hieratic
like
he wasn't sure, but I think the hieratic well, okay. So anyway, so whatever
Let's read it. Yeah, let's read it with the M real quick
my
and see if it makes sense.
Kemet, Kim,
Ma'at
to
Kemem, Horus,
eternity. We finished that. I think we finished 8. So now we can go to 9, and that's still Tameri, right? And then it's Ma, right? Ma, then
the Jet Ta,
right? Jet Ta, me. The last line is me, Sutek, like Sutek, right?
Yup.
And then it's
N.
Well, there's something before
Ka.
in. There's something before in with the man.
Oh yeah, I thought you was good. Okay, so me, Sutek, U, Any, M, Ka. That's the bullhead, isn't it?
Yeah,
It looks like a cow's head or something like that.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes that's offerings or something like that, to offerings, but I'm not so sure. It could be just, it can't be Ka, because they would put Ka is the bullhead.
Right.
So bullhead is
So you
usually
saying it would probably render horns?
Say what?
Because that kind of like a cow instead of a bull.
I don't know. Jet and a monk, if you're in the chat, can you do that line, or Chris?
Who's the Zoom user right there?
That's Neil.
Oh, brother Neil's right in the building.
Yeah, I put it on mute so I won't be making no noise.
So let me see. Me, Sutek. 2 N-E-M. What is that cow's headache? See, I need to pull up. You're gonna make me pull out this Vigus dictionary.
It's not gonna, unless this is late and that is Ka, but that's not Ka.
I think you're right.
Like Sutek, whatever what it is will help us as we understand what that circle in the U is. To him the offerings. Give, okay, so start with the Tameri, and then it says Ma, like look his land forever. I don't know, like Sutek. I can't do it.
Hold up. So I got Ma'at Kemenu.
We got a few. Let's just do the process of elimination. This is how I do it by myself. So, is that the sparrow? Or is that one of the sparrows or a bird? I don't know no other bird that an artist would have wrote on top of an A but an M bird. But that don't mean that that's an M bird. It also appears to be kind of like twisted looking our direction. And I know the word behold, which is ma, that be at the front of the sentences, but behold, Kemet don't make no sense. Behold, Kemet to Heru, to eternity.
What line are you on, Jonathan, so I can follow what you got?
Right here.
Seven before.
Oh, okay.
Now, if this was a sparrow, how about a sparrow? Which sparrow has a out or out?
What?
Oh,
and I'm trying to remember what that would be. I need to pull out that dictionary or something.
So, but now here goes 7. Now look over here. I think he's going to show us. Sometimes he shows us other renditions. Here goes 7 with a Kemet in, but he just got Kim in on that 7. He's not going as far as to show us what the Well, number 6 just got the Mary after it and the 3 strokes, and then 7. So he's still leaving this off. But I mean, now let me show y'all the options I'm thinking, just so we can get through this real quick. Y'all know this word, right? M-A-K, like it's like behold or something. Well, let me see. Oh, I finally got this to start working again, right? It's finally case sensitive and stuff again. Congratulations to me. Now, yeah, it's a word like this, like one of these mock words, but this is the only one popping up. How do I make it pop up? Because it's really my ek. So let me see if I can make this bigger. But I got hell of them for us to look at. We ain't even got to be stuck on this one.
But it seems okay. So we're trying to. It could be a scribal, the writer who's not the original writer, but the person who's translating it. Maybe he wasn't sure, right? So, but what we're trying to do is say what it may be.
Yeah, I'm looking at that tail. That tail kind of renders an owl.
I got some better ones like this. Forget that. Let's just go in all the way, like this. Let me see. Because sometimes you got to go into the hot right. Ain't that right, Brother Reggie? Let me see. All right, I'm trying to figure out.
There goes the owl, right?
So look, now we stay on the top. We've been doing lessons in the class. What do you see? Anything in there, James? So this is a giveaway. You see the Ankh and the S, right? And there go the S. Now you see the Ankh next. Now look at the hieratic Ankhs. Now this is going to confuse you because this could look like a hieratic M, but what this is an N on the top with the little. See, this is what they do. They like to do their columns with one stroke. So this N on the top, and then this is an N on the top, and then it's connected to this little wavy thing that represents the sign. And so now we got Sa'ank in F, and we see that here, Sa'ank in F. So now, I went through the whole text corpus for Sa'ank, and ancient Egyptians don't Sa'ank nothing that ain't alive. Like they don't Sa'ank cities. Sa'ank means to bring life to. So normally when they Sa'ank something, we can do it right now in the text corpus. Look at every Sa'ank. It's always something living. So now, if we see Sa'ank F and we know that this is NF right here, what do we see after this?
Wait a minute,
James, you in the hieratic class, so you need to know
hold on.
this.
You skipped over the third image. And so I see the N and the F right there, but
no, I didn't skip over nothing. Look, let's match it up. Everything with this. This is our training.
You got the Sa'ank.
So look, here go the S, James. You see the S down here?
Yeah, I got it. I got
right
that part.
There go the Ankh, there go the Ankh, there go the Ankh. Look,
right,
now here's the top of the end. Like there go the top of the end. But you got to remember, hieratic don't like to lift. They don't like to really lift the strokes unless they have to, especially if it's in the same word. So they're accounting for this as the N with the at the bottom with just this little wiggle right there. Yeah. Now we got another N. See how that N
See,
matches
that's the
this
one I'm
N?
familiar. I'm familiar with the other N and the F.
But look at this N. Notice it. It's still the same N. It just got something at the bottom.
Same N, just a little shorter, but same symbol.
But this one got something at the bottom of it. So that's how you know if you see the Ankh.
And so but hold up, you're saying that at the bottom represents the that circle with the lines. So I see what you're saying exactly.
And this ain't my work, so this is verified. This is Moeller's work. And so again, that ain't like I could mess this up. Now, right here, this is giving life to, this is Kemet. But the cold part, this is the Kim glyph. Y'all can kind of see the Kim glyph, huh?
Yeah,
it's on top. Now under it, it just got a T attached to it, so that's what's gonna throw us off. And if I scroll down the page, Moeller is gonna qualify.
There it is, right there.
Now look, now this is why I wanted to show this one, because Moeller say this is the key, and we can see that this is a man and a woman determinative and hieratic, right? Yeah. And Moeller corroborates that. Now, when the scholars say, I ain't really never seen no instances, think of how elementary what he's saying is to us. He's literally saying after what he described, and this is not a slight to my brother, and we got more correspondences coming. He just saying he never seen Kemet with the man, the woman, and the people. Now, let me tell the truth. If you're not looking for it, you're never going to see it. I swear to God. You can spend 20 years in Egyptology and never see this because it's like 8 of them, right? It's not hell of them. And in the text that people be looking over, unless they redoing the hieratic like this, they may be honest in saying they never seen one. But as he described it, we got the Kim glyph, right? We got the seated man. But he also said if they wanted to do it in the abstract, you would see the T. And we got more than the seated man. We have a woman with him and a collective. Now, going back to how I'm breaking this down, I want us to look at the category of Sa'ankh real quick in the TLA so everybody... Oh, no, I'm going in too hard in the middle of an email I'm supposed to be sending.
You okay?
So y'all can break this down.
The problem is the Sa'ankh...
Hey, real quick, I'm sorry. Was he saying that would mean black people?
Pardon me?
By
default, he said that. He said Kemet means that which is black, and then we have a classifier behind it to let us know what they talking about.
What the people. So in this case, it would be black people.
I see it clear as day. Yeah.
But here's the let me put this in there for us because I just got to click this one button.
Now I was going to say that the problem with reading that is that the N and the placenta look like the bird in hieratic too. It looks like the owl. So when I seen it, the first thing I'm saying is, oh, there goes the bird right there. But in truth, it's the N connected to the placenta, and it damn near has the same look. That's why I said before.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm tripping. I'm
like, hold on. So look, I'm sorry because I wasn't
trying to figure out what a SAR is reading.
I wasn't showing y'all, because I mean, I know what he's talking about, but I wasn't paying attention. So what he's talking about isn't on the screen. He's talking about this placenta right here.
Yes.
Now, if we want to look up and find what corresponds to it, let's just know that this backwards 3 or whatever 3 is both of these signs. Now, if we look at the other end over here on top, we could kind of see how one of those is up here. You see that?
That's the end.
Yeah, but now he's talking about this bottom part matches the placenta. That's what he was saying.
I did not know that was supposed to be a placenta, so that's what threw me off. I was like,
if he shows you the M in hieratic, it's going to look just like that symbol. Just like that, those two put together.
So that's how we look at what's before it to know what's going on.
Hieratic, it seems that so hieratic is a separate script, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have their own. Hieratic has their own ways of doing it. So some symbols are so often combined that they write it a certain way. Like if I want to look at Kemet is almost always written like that. I don't know, that like animal with 2 hands.
So let me show y'all. I'm gonna go down to Kemet so everybody can see how it's matching up. So even though I caught it on 2 different pages, hopefully it works. Let me see.
It always looks like
just scroll up a little bit.
There you
Right
go.
there.
So
Okay,
y'all
bam.
can see how these, and just believe everybody who don't know, hieratic is always read from right to left, unless it's a case of some up and
Okay,
down.
can you slow down real quick, Smash? So okay, now I see where the hieratic is. Okay,
All
now
right, this is what I'm about to do.
I see
This is what
where
I'm
the
gonna do.
Kim glyph represented at the top, where that
Real
first
I'm gonna have to
line.
leave. I'll talk to you
All right,
later.
thanks for tapping
I'll
in,
watch
Reggie.
it over.
Thanks
Peace
for
to
tapping
Reggie.
in.
Peace.
All right, now look. Now
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to show us this simply. I'm gonna make this stroke a lot thinner. Now, only part we see in green represents the Kemp. It represents this.
The bottom half is your
Yeah,
teeth.
now I'm gonna change color for the bottom half just to illustrate it. This bottom part represents this.
Now, what is that stroke that's right there to the right of the bottom of that T? Is that included
No,
in
that's
that?
part
Or that's
of
just a mistake.
that's just part of a photo crop of the word in front of it.
So that little
That
thing
ain't
that's
part
down
of
there,
it.
that ain't got okay
part
word.
of it,
Okay.
yeah. And so now we see this is representative of the people. So this is a Kemet with the people.
Okay, now parse the man and the woman out of there, and then where are the 3 strokes at in there?
It really ain't to be parsed out. This is the man and the woman, but if you just seen the man, it'll just look like one bent leg or whatever. Now, I didn't do this translation, so it's not like this ain't qualified homework. This is the scholarship on it. But I had not even got to get to the ultimate point we trying to make, so I'm a oops, damn. Just closed out my Chrome. It ain't no big deal. I wanna deal with the Sa'ank thing. Sa'ank don't happen to the dirt or to the land or nothing. It's always with individuals and humans, right? So I'm gonna come to the TLA and we're gonna put in Sa'ank. And y'all gonna see how they gonna say he brought life to Egypt. It's normally bringing life to some humans. So I'm gonna go SANX. Hopefully that'll work. They probably want me to hyphenate it. And I don't think I need a capital X.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, no capital X. Huh? All right, let me see. Maybe they want me to hyphenate it. Let's see. So, right? Now, when we look at these attestations, all right, that didn't pop up. So I'm going to just go to Maybe I should take the hyphen out.
Take the hyphen out, yeah.
All right, there you go. Now, look. To make live, to perpetuate, or to flourish. Right?
Nourish.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Nourish. I said flourish. 279 attestations. We just being indiscriminate. All right, right from the gate. Is the lowly people or is the lowly like buildings? And you feel me? I have provided for the lowly. Sa'ant Najes. Lowly is Najes. Provided is Sa'ant. Najes is commoners. They're people. So every time we see Sa'ant, it's going to refer to people. Now look, Sa'ant asks, let's see. For Mehu has written down his instructions to look after them in this letter that I have brought to thee. They're using this to provide for. This is Sa'ant. So I get provided to thee. Sa'ant S. Maybe instructions to look after them. I don't know, but this is using it to provide for. It's still between 2 humans, so I ain't got a trip. Somebody got some feedback that's doing crazy. It says, fighter Horus, who is above the Seju part of the sky, who animates Ra daily, he will form Unes, and he will animate Unes daily. Now let's look at the word Sa'ant Ra. Where's that at? Who animates Ra daily. Okay, animating Ra. Fine, I'll take that. That's not a human. But it's not like a building or a city. And that's what I want to see if we ever come into. It's still it's still an entity is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, they're bringing life to entities. So fighter Horus, that's the same one. Horus has quickened you. Quickened translates back to Sa'ant. So Horus has enlivened you. This is something that they do to humans, as we see, or they do to entities, not to buildings or dirt. Now, Horus has joined you. He cannot separate you. He has quickened. Hold on. Basically what I'm showing is Sa'ank is normally dealing with people. And it ain't never one of these that's gonna be talking about a city or nothing. So why is that important? It's because when we come back to the text we looking at, and it say right here, the next thing it say Sa'ank Kemet. So he's bringing life to black people. And this ain't even the black community here. This is black people. Now, if I'm wrong, then the text is going to contradict that next. Kemet, now what does it say next? It says Keser NF. Let's look this up. Let's see if I can remember what this means. I remember what it means, but let me just look it up. It's going to be like to repel. It means to repel, but let's look it up. That's in my memory. Let's look it up. He's going to repel their fears. So you know it ain't a town, but what was the word again?
X
SR. All right, now watch this. Watch this say to repel or something like that. This is out my memory for when I looked it up before. See, to remove, to dispel, to drive away darkness, evil. Right? So he brought him life, now he's about to remove something. You feel me?
Right.
So he is removing, what is he gonna remove? Here go the final line, which is Shinu S. Shinu is their trouble. This is your problems. Cities don't have problems. The people in the cities have problems. Right?
And you know it's the evil because that little bird.
Yeah, and that's bad. That means that their problems is Sinu S. I can look this up too.
So the bird identifies problem.
It means bad stuff.
So when you see that bird, you see something might not be good.
So watch how this pop up right here. Watch how it pop up. It's gonna have the bird too. It got to.
Yeah, that's not the chick
I got
bird.
this up here.
There you go, right there.
No, but it don't got
feel pain.
Look, yeah, this is a version of it.
Illness, suffering.
Illness and suffering. So he took away, but it's a better version. We're gonna find.
What's wrong with that damn bird?
That bird, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because as soon as the sauce in it, he's like, man, yeah, that ain't good.
Here it go, right here, perfect.
Yeah, there go another one. Trouble.
So he took away their troubles.
Suffering and illness.
So now, if the city ain't occupied by no people, then it ain't got no troubles. It's not a 049 determinative there. It's people back there. He took away these people troubles. So now this will stand. I'm 100% behind translating this as black people because it stands perfectly with the text. This is your other option.
So you ain't even going out on a limb, is what you're saying.
No place close. Let me show you your other options. He brought life to Egypt. You see,
that ain't gonna work. Hold on, I already know that ain't gonna work.
And you know Egypt is an anachronism. Plus, it got people there, so they're not talking about Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
It would have an 049 sound if they wanted to make that work.
You know what's crazy, Smash? Hold
Why
up,
didn't they use rematch?
That, I had already. You know what? I should have asked you that when you said it, because that's what I was gonna say. That's crazy. I was gonna say, man, if you was talking about
for
this,
the people.
You pointed out that right here he's talking about people, but I was thinking to myself, well, if he wanted to talk about the whole city, he would just put the city determinant.
Yeah, but they talk about this one community, man. These people, Kemet. Now this ain't a one-off. I got some more of these. Here go one that is even better. So let's see if this is a city or these are people here. And when you go into the hieratic, it starts to open up a little bit. Now, I like how they do this one because I think I got a text that already proved that the black was because of Heru and the red is because of Sutek. But we got another Haka NF construction. I think it's past perfect. Like this happened. He ruled. He has ruled. So he has ruled. It happened. It already transpired perfectly. He has ruled. Now, let's talk about it. They didn't put this is some people he ruled. This ain't a location. Wherever these people are at, they ruler. See what I mean? They don't have to necessarily be in Kemet. If these people call Kemet, they adhere to him. Haka, NF. Haka is the ruler, NF to him. So the form is by him. Now the form is an action that was completed in the past. So he got that action off. So he has ruled black people. Now let's see if that makes sense. If you say Egypt, it don't make sense. Now let me be clear to the people who don't understand why I keep saying Egypt and not Egyptians. Because they tell us Kemet mean Egypt and Kemet means Egyptians. But there's no TU here. See? There's Kemet, which means black, and then that which is black, and then the category determiner to let us know what that represents. So if it's if I put a cattle here, everybody will know it's a black cow. But when you put people there, they're like, oh, hold up now. So let's read.
The scholar he showed that just a minute ago.
Brother Flag want to hop in. I could tell. Go. That Brother Flag on to say something.
Anybody who want to say, anybody who got something to say. So look, let's deal with this same form, because after he has ruled, I'm gonna say black people, because it say black people, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you don't want to say the people because you don't pronounce determinatives, then you gotta say blacks.
Because that's what Kemet means.
You would have to say blacks.
Shame. Yo, you can't get around it.
No. Wow. But that's
he just smoothed it all the way out and said blacks.
Hey, James. Hey, I like the way he's doing that though, because he's deducting any possibility.
Well, let's go with the other possibilities. He has ruled Egypt, right? But this don't say Egypt because they talking about the people. Land? That's what I'm saying. Right here, they put people here, so we can't translate this as Egypt. We just can't. Mm-hmm. It's stupid. It wouldn't make no sense. I mean, it'd break all the rules. So we could try to force it. We could try to force it to Egyptians, right? But in their grammar rules, it should be a TU after this. Even Asar Imhotep will tell you this is not a Kemet to you. Correct. This is Kemet. This is just Kemet. So Kemet just means black. That's the only word stated here. This is the category of what they talk about.
So give up. Yo,
so hold on. This is what I'm trying to figure out. You know, I'm kind of rookie at this, but I'm in my mind, I'm trying to figure out how would I construct it to a TU. Would it just be the TU
so bird? So this is what they argue.
Would it have to have a TU bird on the back of it?
If it had a TU bird after it, it would be a TU. But some argue that the TU is implicit. Like Daniel Selden argues that the TU is implicit by seeing these two people here.
You don't say.
But we don't say rematch TU, do we? We just say rematch. Right?
Well, you be boxing them us, man.
So we gotta be consistent.
he went all the way to that.
But let's keep going though, because if he ruled over the black people, let's see if the rest of the sentence is consistent, or if it say nah, that don't make no dang sense. So I'm just trying to find my slider on the side.
Okay, 1 second. While you doing that, Pan African James, you seen right now a genius in him and Reggie, because sorry, and you guys got genius in you, and you bring it out all the time on these shows. But I was watching a show about a little 15-year-old white kid that found all these Maya temples, and he wasn't even a scholar. So how can they say y'all might know more than the scholars with this?
I don't disbelieve the fact that anybody can know more than the scholar.
That's
scholarship.
Right.
I mean, that is just a piece of paper. It's not likely that you'll find people who know more than scholars, but you can find a person who's been specializing and hyper-focused on one subject that a scholar don't have time to hyper-focus on. We're all hyper-focused on one term, and so all of us could talk to any just layman Egyptologist about Kemet, and I guarantee you refer to some text. Put it this way, if I told you the name of this text and you doing the homework right with me, so you can tell them what's in this text. All you got to do is know the name of it. You see what I'm saying? And so they'd be like, damn, he really said it. You could check this text. And I really went and looked and found it. But I want to continue because what happens here is a Urdi. We got a well, it don't look like a Urdi, but we could know when we see this ain't Ra. This ain't Ra in it. If we see this R, this A. This A would normally have a cone of bread in his hand to let us know that it's a D. D means to give to somebody. Is two. So that's like to give. Now it says to give, then it says in, by, or of him. So now we got to put it into the grammatical form that we know this is sigim in F form, which means that it is a past action that was completed perfectly. Like it didn't have no problems when he tried to pull it off. And I'm saying that in layman's terms, but when they say a complete perfect action, it's like Jack threw the ball. If the ball got through and that throwing action was completed, then it was perfect. You know what I'm saying? And so he has ruled was the top one. And this one is, now since we see give by him, this is he has given. Because we got to look at it in the past tense and that the action is complete. You see what I'm saying? So if I say this, say give, he by him, and then I say make that into a past tense action that has been completed, we have to say he has given. Because he finished giving it to him, so it's complete action. Now he has given. Now this is knowing this. All right, some will try to make it say he was given, but it don't say that. So look, he has given. What did he give? Jeshurun.
Jeshurun.
Now who he gonna give Jeshurun to? This about to be hella funny.
It gotta be set.
M. Hold on.
M.
So you know this is like he's giving Jeshurun to this person. Now this is his fathers or his ancestors. So now let me talk about something. Where do the ancestors get buried?
What you mean?
In the black land or the red land?
In the red land.
The ancestors get buried in the red land.
Yeah, they get
Think about the Valley of the Kings.
Yeah, the red land.
Like Sakara. The red land, the deserts.
So this is a misconception to think that the red land is like far away. That's the part that's right, like the Valley of the Kings. Most of the necropolis, it wouldn't stand to put nobody in the mud. You know what I'm saying? You got to put them in the
it'd be too much flood. You flood the grave.
So now we can help me with this reading. I read this as fathers because it's Ab F, right? Now, but the thing, I don't like seeing this horn right here. There's an Ab. This ain't his elephants, but there is also an Ab that is rooted with elephants. So we about to qualify this.
That the elephant, or is that the horn for the bull, though?
Oh, thank you.
That's what it looks like to me. That looks like a bull.
The elephant tusk is a little bit flatter. So now that it is a bull, it goes perfectly with ancestors and the abstract concept. Again, that they ain't, I mean, you know, it's some people that's associated with you that ain't living. But let's look at Ab F to see if that's going to, no, At F would be his fathers, right? So Ab is about to give us something else. It's going to be like his ancestors if I ain't messed up. But Ab F normally is his heart. So let's look and see what we get for this.
All right, fam, I'm out. Peace to the family. My lunch break over.
Thanks for tapping in, bro. Yep. Ab F. And so the word is Ab, and it needs to have that tusk. It ain't gonna say he gave Jeshurun to the tusk. I think we looked over this before, and somebody was like, he put that on his horn. Y'all don't remember when somebody was?
Yeah, that's right.
That was a different text that was close to this, and somebody was saying he put the desert on his horn. Or something. I remember somebody saying that.
That's that bullhorn. Brother Flag, go on and say it. Say it.
Where you at?
Black people. I just want to see black people. Black people. Black people.
Black people. There it is. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately for some, it appears to be saying that. I don't know why it's unfortunate for them.
Hold up, yo.
Shame on them.
Shame on them.
You know what you're doing? And you're working against all these years of Egyptology having this racist, anti-black purpose to it. And so you're pulling at that thread and unraveling it. And so some of our people are affected by that in their mind, so they can't even see it when you lay it out for them.
Oh, they go ob. Uh-oh. So it say ob F. Now we need it with the horns. Oh, heck no. Why does it say to boast and to brag? That's ob. We need to find it with just one horn and we gonna have it. Oh, it's about to go down. It ain't about, see, this one literally do say horns, but a ob is a horn. I told y'all, I was like, is that the tusk? But let's see if he didn't put it on his horns. Oh, out of his misery? Look, it's misery, but it gotta have the bird. Disaster, misery. He put the red land in disaster. That means to join together with. Now, how about that? He put it together with the red land. See, at this point, you're trying to match the glyphs and see which definition. Now, I have to remember to join and to go together is an option because that's fairly close to something that could go in there. But it don't seem to make sense because it got an F after it. Together with him, he gave the red land together with, nah. Somebody who know that word need to pop up. But we could look at it.
You looking at?
I'm looking at this ob, and normally,
They got them bulls horns.
Yeah, but when we found the one rendition of it, like written just the way we was talking about. Now look back at this one. This one got an enemy and a foe on it. Look.
You see, that's the man axing himself in the head. That's how they have set in every picture.
I don't know what that word means.
Abu, impurity.
Ob F. It ain't. It's so.
I
We about to see.
I can't remember that.
We about to see.
Yeah, that's interesting, right
hold on,
there.
Here go one right here. Look, it do got this, and it got that, and it say Ob F, and they're using it to say whose horns, bruh.
Whose horns shine.
But that's not this.
Well,
but
it's purification of the horns.
I wanted
to
see how they using it. That ain't what we using it. I mean, that ain't the same rendition.
Oh,
it gotta be like the same one.
Be a black and white bull.
Hold on, now what does this mean?
Read that?
It was one back here that had the two lands. Look, hold on, watch this.
Ab horns.
I just
So we have horns. So his horns.
Nah, join or to unite would be better than his horns. His unite don't make no sense.
Yeah, so I'm thinking his horns.
He put the desert on his horns. Yeah, remember I said we translated it like that last time?
Yeah.
But how did we make sense out of that? Did Chris come in and say his horns mean like his back or something?
He did. He mentioned something of that nature, and I remember because
something happened like this. I definitely remember.
Joined together with.
It ain't his horns,
but not in this case.
But
yeah,
his join, his together, it can't be his verb.
Because they're talking about the two lands. So, see, Abba, since we're offering stone.
Abba is wise counsel. But
it's not a sanctuary.
I don't know, but that's one to keep on looking at. Let me see. I'm getting like we almost at 3 hours, so it'll be time to eat. Now, but right here, M-I-F, by his horns, man, yeah. Oh, you know what? Somebody looked this up. I think someone looked this up I think Sadiq looked this up in the coffin text, and it really did say by his horns. Now I'm starting to remember. Or was it you? One of y'all opened up the coffin text or whatever it was, some text.
I had to open because we was looking at that text that
day. It ain't
day.
coffin text. It gotta be. But it's erratic. So I'm thinking, how could it be coffin text? That's what just hopped in my head right there. You feel me? So I don't know what happened, but I just got some
Yeah,
vague
because I
memory.
had the coffin text that day, because it's the green book right over here. My pyramid text, I don't think I opened up that day, did I? I don't think so. Because I was showing it on the screen as I opened the book.
It might be, I don't know. Now this word kapesh, right? Let's see what this is. You know what a kapesh is,
That's a
but let's see.
weapon, yeah,
Yeah,
the
but
confessions. Well, that would make sense by his horns and compassion somebody. So yeah.
Oh well, this
And there's the
I was skipping
foreleg.
all around this text. This was just every different place that I found a Kemet.
Oh, okay.
You know, so yeah, it's not one continuous story.
Now you see the bird right there? See the owl right
This
in
one,
front of
this right
in
here.
my neck?
Yeah, yeah.
Now it looks just like
Yeah, it looks
what
like
we was
that
looking
glyph
at
we was looking
before.
at
Yeah.
earlier. Yeah, that's why I was saying
So
it could be
that's
confusing.
I noticed that too. A sauce.
yeah.
That was the first. I was like, that looked just
So
like an
that's
imp.
why I said the owl. I was like, oh,
So
there's an
how? So
owl.
hold up. Is there any type of distinct thing that you can tell them apart?
Nah, not really. You gonna survey. You
Wow.
gonna think it's the owl first, and then if it ain't
You
the
have to
owl,
do. You
if
have to
the
run
owl
it
don't
through the.
work, you just go to the second one.
Yeah,
Like, oh, that
you
ain't
got to
the
run
owl.
it through the
Yeah,
sentence
yeah.
to make it make sense.
Exactly.
I get it.
And if you
That's why I
read
said
Ankh, if you see an Ankh, you probably never gonna think it's the owl.
no. So
But
that's why I said if anybody pulls out, if you want to beat me, pull out some hieratic, because even though I can read some of it, I'm gonna quit. Because it's very
we've been
difficult to
learning on
parse.
Yeah,
Sundays,
yeah, yeah, yeah. We got a
and we've been learning
Heretic
on
class,
Sundays
and I'm
too. Yeah.
behind. I think when we get off of here, I might go do the 2 lessons that I missed because I need to catch up before Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
Is it Sunday or
I'm gonna go
Saturday? It's on
relax.
Sunday, right?
I think I got some business to handle.
Yes, I got to catch up on my homework.
Yeah. I appreciate y'all, and shout out to the what are they called? The end. I don't know what I titled the video, but I'm tired of
It's
these dudes
called
who can't read the
primary
text.
sources versus illiterate skeptics.
Brothers, yeah, the illiterate skeptics. They just being skeptical as a profession. Like they're never going to look at anything positively. They're going to be skeptical because that's their profession, and they can't read it. And I'm illiterate in a ton of languages. You think I'm gonna go? Well, I read a little Greek, a little Coptic. You think I'm gonna go up to somebody who like dealing with some Latin, and they read Latin, and I'm gonna tell them what to say because I got another source? No. You think I'm gonna tell a Hebrew like Tazariah who dealing with the Strongs in the Hebrew language all day what it say in the King James version? I'm gonna look silly. But cats don't realize that's exactly what they're doing with the Medu Neter. So I'm gonna let y'all have the last words as we get out of here.
Nah, man, peace. I mean, the way I see it, that video that you shared, a little bit of extra clips that you shared, that's pretty much, I think they on notice, and I think it would be wise for them to fall back and just really just try to be honest about what they hear instead of being so objective. Because really, we all family. I would rather us all be together instead of fragmenting and become different tribes based on these different ideologies or understanding. So we family. I ain't mad at them, but really, it's time to stop playing, man, and just go ahead and just cut the egos and all of that out, and let's really just be honest with what we hear and see, and so we can stay family. So that's all I really got to say.
We're gonna let the elder finish it out, so I'll hop right because the best is for last. So y'all just seen black people on the screen today. You just heard the scholar. You heard the difference between a scholar who's enjoying a conversation and when you listen to a scholar who feels like they have to re-explain things to people who don't quite comprehend what they're looking at. And you're looking at skill sets from people who actually can read the language and somebody who doesn't have any skill set trying to tell you what they think they know about the language. So if you want to listen to people who have no idea what they're looking at, can't read a sentence to save their life, even with the TLA, they couldn't read the sentence barely, and you want to take their opinion, you do that, homie. Other than that, come over here where we study it, we're engraced in it. and the understanding is good. And as you can see, we venerate our elders and we venerate the ancestors that were before them, and they come over here and they like what we're doing because they know it makes them shine. And here goes one of those people right now.
Ashe. Thanks so much. You know, you guys you inspire me, and you make me, you really make me proud. But you also make me think that I can see the difference between those who study for their pride in their own self enrichment, as opposed to those who are studying to add to the community. So I'm just reminded of the teachings of Patawatep, and it says, what? Be not arrogant be not arrogant in your learning, because information is to be found among the wise and the low.
That's right.
Because the limits of wisdom are not achieved, and they're to be found at the among the women at the grindstone. So we're arrogant with our knowledge, or the little bit they know. And to see you guys that put in the time and put in the work, and especially, I mean, I'm just with Smash, your ability to interact with these different levels is just remarkable. And I'm just waiting for an opportunity to get you in front of the whole nation. Come and do a presentation for us at our conference. You might want
down in LA?
Yes, you can do it.
I do it this weekend. I mean, I do it whenever you call. I hop right in my car, come right there.
Do I, Saber? Absolutely.
It'll take me 4 hours, so let me know.
Okay, man. Okay, consider it done. We're gonna work on getting together.
Phone numbers in the back chat. Look, emails or something in the back chat. Connected to the back chat.
Yeah, you got my email, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's all good. So we'll be in touch. I can come present. I come present often. I mean,
I'm sharing your rap with my grandchildren.
Oh, word up! I appreciate that. Yeah, that's good. All right. Anybody else got something? Or we out? Oh, that good guy. He just popped up at the last minute. What's up? Or had you been here?
I didn't see him.
All right. Well,
he been here for a minute.
I got some stuff I got to tend to with this house and get some stuff in order before, ain't this Easter? So
man, don't even start.
I'm not talking about for me. I'm talking about getting some stuff serviced on my house. I ain't going to be able to get it done this weekend.
Right.
So I got to get this done, but on this Friday, it's going to be over.
Is Good Friday?
Ain't it Friday right now?
Yeah, it's Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Yep, that's what it is. Yep. So what that mean? I never knew what that meant my whole life.
Suzanne, what a Good Friday.
It got something to do, well, basically for me, it got something to do with some sun worshiping on the under. They just don't want to tell us, you know what I'm saying? But we can look into it and find out exactly what it is. But it's basically got something to do that they done ripped off from us.
Friday before I know. All right, that's what's up. I'm gonna let y'all do y'all thing. I appreciate y'all.
All right, peace.
Hotel. Oh yeah, I ain't even the host no more, huh? Yeah, well, it was a lot more of them Kims to look at, but why look at them all? We're going to watch us look at them with the scholar, right? Appreciate y'all, but I ain't here for that. We moved on. I'm out. Thanks for the contributions again, even though I ain't got nobody to thank for no Cash App, because I know when they get around this time of the month, ain't nobody got nothing to support nothing. But I'm still going to be here doing it. You feel me? And I appreciate all the members who